So now what do I do? Well, I guess there's only one thing. There's something I'd like to know. Are you real? Can you feel?
Hi friends, I'm Prairie Vintage. My name's Linda. That was weak. Hi friends, I'm Prairie Vintage. My name's Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube, and I use spirit, my intuition, the tarot to communicate energies to you guys, fabulous viewers. If you guys are new to this channel, welcome. I'm so glad that you guys finally found me. I hope these readings resonate and that you guys stay. If this reading does not resonate, I do have a playlist. All those readings are timeless unless otherwise stated. And so hopefully you do find something that is resonating for you. For everyone else who is returning, I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed to be here doing your reading, and I cannot wait to get into today's reading. We'll be using these 4 decks, okay, the Pastoral Tarot, and then these Oracle cards. So we have the Enneagram of the Mystical Oracle, and then we have the Enneagram of the General Oracle, and then we have the Blind Spot Oracle cards. So it's going to be a pretty intense sort of reading here, okay? So if you're not in the mood for intensity, then maybe this isn't your reading. I'm just assuming that's going to be intense based on the decks that were being called for this reading. I'm going to do a Celtic Cross and looking at a deep dive into your energy. So blind spots will be coming through, anything you're working through currently, and as we know, I'm more focused on revealing what we're needing to know and sort of heal or look at so that we can move past it, okay? I'm not here to sort of puff up anyone's ego or feed anyone's delusion. And so if that's sort of what you're needing right now, because we all sometimes need a pump me up, this probably won't be that type of reading. Okay, it could be. I don't know. I don't know what Spirit's going to show, okay? But it does feel challenging with these cards. But if you're not ready, then you can come back. And this isn't everyone's reading, and that's absolutely fine as well. Okay, so we're looking at, like I said, a deep dive towards what's going on in your energy. This could be highly spiritual. This could be something very practical you're dealing with. This could be a mixture of all areas. Okay. This will be a pick a card reading. We'll get into the options after this sort of scene, but for those of you guys interested in these decks, I'll put a link right here so that you guys can take a look at the cards in these decks if you are interested in investing in these decks. I do love them very much, although I don't use the Pastoral Tarot all that much because it's a horizontal card, not vertical, and so I don't know, it just seems like it's only called for certain situations. All right, but anyway, I'll see you guys at the pick a card. I'll see you there. Hello, gorgeous angels. So we have 3 options to choose from for today's reading. Option 1 is the Crazy Agate. Option number 2, the Chrysocolla. It's going to roll away. Option number 3 is the Moonstone. All right, so sit with this energy. Use your intuition. If you get stuck, close your eyes, open your eyes. Whichever one you're called to will most likely have the information you're needing to hear. Is absolutely common to tap into someone else's energy in your vicinity, okay? If somebody has energy that's sort of around you that might be intense, this could definitely be that person's energy. You can go select a different pile if it isn't what you're wanting to hear, all right? Beautiful angels, so when you're ready, I will put the timestamps down below, and I will see you guys at your pick. Hello, gorgeous. Pile number 1. Am I recording? Yes, okay. Crazy Agate. You chose a Crazy Agate. All right. Things are a little crazy. Are they crazy? Let's see if they're a little crazy right now. So, like I said in the intro, this might be a little intense, okay? So if you're not looking for intensity, maybe come back. I don't know. But to the cards I'm using here and the way that I'm going to be doing this Celtic cross, it might be a little bit intense, okay? So we're asking Spirit for the greatest and highest good of what pile 1 is needing to know in order to work through whatever it is they're needing to work through, a deep dive into their energy, and then we'll see what we see. So this is a Celtic cross, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 1. Please protect us as I channel this message, Spirit. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, pile 1, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here. If this sounds like someone around you, then it could be a challenge with said person, and you're getting an insight on how to sort of look at this objectively, okay? So you don't have to listen. You can go with another pile if you feel it's not for you, okay? So let's take a look. Spirit for pile 1. This might take a bit. You guys can skip ahead. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 1. Okay. That's good. Pile number 1, what's going on in their energy field here? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 1. Thank you, spirits. Thank you, pile 1, for being here. All right. Please. I don't know why I was putting it there, but that's how it felt, or I was being guided to do. Pile number 1. So that's up there. Thank you. And that's up there. Okay. Alrighty. This might be a bit. Okay. Now let's take a look. My goodness. So we have self-listening, and we have feeling invaluable, and we have projection. Alrighty. So what's going on right now? I feel like there is a situation going on right now in your world, okay, that is involving a challenge, I do feel, regarding another, okay? Usually when there's projection involved, it certainly is someone. Now we'll see if this is you or someone you're dealing with, making assumptions based on their own sort of ideas and experiences and projecting it onto a situation, which creates an environment of working with illusion, because projections are not necessarily based in reality, but projections, they're illusions, and it's creating a feeling not seen, and this definitely could be your energy. Yeah, so there's a feeling here of feeling not seen, not understood, maybe feeling rejected, feeling invisible, and a high imbalance here, okay? Because this is talking about giving and receiving, being self-aware. So I feel like if we're dealing with someone who is not self-aware and they're unaware that they're even projecting here, they could be creating all sorts of traumas and all sorts of things that don't feel good, okay? So this is what it's sort of giving off here. Let's take a look and we'll do the deep dive. So we have being original, suffering, and triangulation. Yeah, so I feel like the challenge here right now is a situation in which you feel like you can't reveal a truth here because of the way that this situation or this person, I do feel, like I said, you're dealing with a person that's like projecting, and that they're utilizing this sort of understanding that they have, which is untrue, by the way, okay, towards some form of dynamic that's being set up right now, and it's creating a lot of suffering. And I feel like you're not seeing clearly because maybe you're believing this person. Okay, you might be unsure what the truth is, like what's my truth, and how much of my truth is projection, or how much of their truth is reality. And we might be self-victimizing, okay, as a result of this sort of projection. Or this could be something that we're working through or have noticed, identified, is creating our suffering. It's like this situation, this person, or this experience is sort of devaluing me. And I'm now being aware of something here, or it's showing me. But now the challenge here is like, what do I do about it? Or how do I deal with the truth? Or how do I manage this illusion? Is there something for me to do? How do I sort of overcome this? Or what's it asking for me to do? Okay, but we do have being original and self-listening. So I feel like you've been putting yourself, okay, of course you could flip it if it's the other way around, sort of behind maybe someone or something as like secondary, or like your opinion or your needs or your voice isn't as important. Okay, which I do feel is creating this feeling devalued and not understood or seen. So we could have been suppressing our voice or concerns. Let's see what's creating this thing. So we have identity, and we have altruism, and we have control. Okay, so Spirit's talking about where this is sort of generated from. So yes, many things could be true at once that might be conflicting. I do feel like you're dealing with a situation that is casting projections, that is based on illusion, so someone else's shadow or understanding or whatever. Okay, but regardless of however the outside world is sort of behaving, we have an ability to tap into our own voice, our own power, our own understanding. I feel like what has been built within you over time, maybe over this lifetime or maybe over generations, who knows how long, is an identity. And this identity is an understanding you have of who you are or how you have to be. Okay, but it stemmed from this need for control. And I feel like control just represents that there's a fear. There's an underlying fear of, if I don't have control, then I won't attain something, and so I must control the situation or the circumstance. If this means I feel like playing secondary, it will achieve my goal, then I play secondary. If this means I must silence my voice, then I silence my voice. But it's all in the name of this control, because the fear is louder, the fear of it not working out, or the fear that if I don't toe the line, it won't work out, And so I feel like there is this, self-sacrifice in the name of like in the immediate, we're sacrificing our need, our expression because we have the outcome in mind. And so this could definitely, when we see control, it's like the fear of the future not working out. And so in the present moment, there's suffering, there's living in illusion, there's silencing truth, there's all sorts of stuff that creates a suffering. But this is based from this understanding we have of who we think we are, how we think we have to be. Okay, to upkeep some sort of self-image here that we hang on to, that says I am a doer, or I have more power if I do it this way. Okay, but this is also projection, because it's an understanding we have of, if I'm like this, then this is the result of it. And so, yeah, we might be overly loyal. We might be, sacrificing our own desires, needs, and authenticity. Yeah, I feel like our own authenticity is being in question here. And the more we sort of betray ourselves, the more suffering we experience. Okay. And I think your intention is to have a peaceful outcome here, but peaceful for who? Because I feel like there is this need for control of something. And so what Spirit is kicking it back to is our only sort of real driver should be, am I peaceful right now? In this present moment, am I suffering? Everything else is sort of unnecessary, but the control is very strong. And so we still might be trying to manipulate outcome and future. So we got to get to the bottom of this sort of thing here, because I feel like in the present moment, we're suffering. In the present moment, we're a victim of other people's projections or situations that are creating difficulty for us. But it's creating difficulty for your the version of you that isn't you, by the way, the version of you that is like this image that you're engaging with, this identity that you engage this situation or this person with, out of a need for control, out of a need to be seen in some way so that you can attain an outcome. Okay, so I don't know, it says being of service, devotion, generosity. So there could be a lot of this sort of overly selling one's self. Okay, but then we feel resentful in some way because it's feeling invaluable. So it's like, no matter what I give, no matter what I say, no matter what I do here, out of a place of being completely selfless, it's not being seen, it's not being recognized. Meanwhile, the ulterior motive here was control. It had nothing to do with the selfless giving. It had more to do with the controlled giving, So we need to check our ego here. Okay, let's see. What's going out of existence here? So we have judgment, 32, withdrawal, and divine joy. I feel like there's been a realization here with this judgment, a realization that continuing in this sort of fashion isn't bringing great joy. And I feel like you might have pulled your energy back with this withdrawal. Okay. You definitely are like understanding something differently here. Okay. But maybe we're still in the weeds of it, or maybe still things haven't ironed out here so much, but there is this like a realization, and we might have carried even this expectation of ourselves that maybe we're working through releasing. It's like, I have to appear as someone who is cooperative or giving or of service or is loving, but this is an identity that we feel like, okay, this is me or who I want to appear as, because anything that's not in line with this won't be accepted, or I won't accept it, which is a judgment, because your truest self has light and shadow. Okay. And so we cannot suppress any part of ourself that we don't like, or that we don't agree with, or that we say isn't convenient. It's not convenient for me to go against the grain. It's not convenient for me to have a voice. It's not convenient for me to be a rebel or to go against what others might think is being difficult, And so we silence this only to find ourselves feeling unseen, invaluable, self-sacrificing in a way here by sabotaging your own self. And so I feel like we're now at the point here of knowing that there's something greater that we could feel, which is divine peace and joy. Okay, so this is mindfulness, pain accepted, intense presence, profound satisfaction. I think you're coming to the point here where we're seeing a truth that transcends past all this type of stuff that we can't unsee, that's created our action in this situation. And the action, I feel, is this acceptance with the pulling of our energy away from whatever hasn't been working. Okay, so let's see what's up here. Crowning, we have liberty. Okay, great. And we have revenge. Oh my goodness. And we have bypassing. Yeah, so this is confirming. I think most of our actions in the situation was trying to get a form of acceptance and recognition. Okay, and it was really stemmed from a place of, you can only attain acceptance from others by being in a certain way. what that means is we're rejecting a part of ourselves that we think won't be accepted. And as long as we silence a part of our truest self, I'm losing my voice now, which means speaking our truth, and we suppress it, all for this image of me that will force this outcome, this acknowledgement, then we feel we don't feel good because we're silencing a true part of ourselves, and so that part will never be accepted and seen. So we're rejecting that part of ourselves before it even comes online. Okay, so I feel like this suffering and this feeling invaluable and rejected and defeated is created by your own rejection of our true self, by our own suppression of our own ability to speak our truth, stand up for ourselves, or say what we want to say in that present moment, because of fear of not being accepted or it being rejected in some way, you know. But in all, we're creating this rejection. And so I do feel another energy coming through here as well. I feel like maybe you are dealing with someone here who also needs control, okay? And this person could definitely be doing something here with projection and this bypassing. That's like not also based in reality and present moment. And so if they're driven by their own shadows and fears of how they need control, they might be bypassing a lot of things that are needing to be dealt with in this moment. Okay, present moment, not right here, right now, but in the present moment, which, by the way, that's all that exists is right here, right now, but which would require a lot of courage. Okay, but I feel like with all these eights, which again is courage and strength to face our fears, there is a lot of ego that keeps popping through here. And so the ego is an identity of me that thinks it's the doer, that's going to do whatever it has done in the past, or it believes, a strong belief in that identity, that version of me is the one that's going to have success here, or is the one that's going to have the victory, or is the one that's going to make the win. And we believe it so strongly. And so that's the version of me that comes online, come hell or high water. And so the other version of me, or the truest version of me, or the depths of what I truly feel and want to say, kind of gets silenced. And they go in the shadow, you know, like a child who's like resentful now for not being seen or understood. I thought I brought my drink here. And so there is no deep inner peace when we're sort of acting out of this, okay? Because I do feel there's a mirroring here, but we're seeing liberty, liberation from limits, high mind intuition, letting go, ethical alignment, deep inner peace, grace and forgiveness. So this whole thing is a lesson in, okay, this could be very karmic with the judgment here, a lesson in how to see your own authenticity and how to see through the illusion of control, and how to free ourselves from any limitations that we are putting on our truest self in order to appease the future version self, to attain some form of outcome that's, again, stemmed from a fear because I am trying to control situation, okay, at the sacrifice of inner peace and being peaceful in the present moment and joyful in the present moment and find this deep fulfillment, okay? And so there's always a trade-off. And so when we bypass, because the truest self is trying to express itself, but we're choosing to control a situation, and now we pay the ramifications of this sort of silencing of the true self. Okay, but there's letting go here, and then there's also this pulling back. And so I feel like I think we're learning to gain a different perspective of ourselves and a situation that is a little more mindful and more in line with the reality rather than with the projection and the fear, which has been taking some time and creating a lot of suffering. Okay, so this is the energy we're dealing with. Let's take a look at the immediate future and see what's going on here. Shapeshifter 73 and 10. Well, 10s are about ending, so that's good. And then we have Pride 47 and 2. And then we have Helplessness, Dark Night of the Soul. Okay, loss of control, it says here. All right, so beautiful angels. The whole challenge here is created by an ego identity that believes deeply that it has control, which again is an illusion, but it has control, and therefore it will force outcome. It will do what it needs to do. Okay. I feel like there's a loss of this control on purpose by the design of the creator here in order for there to be a reflection back to self. And so again, another 8. You guys might be seeing lots of 8s, but 88 is a higher calling that is grounded in self-awareness and reverence for life. And so I feel like there's a need for self-awareness, because the biggest sort of energy when we opened your reading was this projection. And although I do feel like someone else is also projecting, I feel like you're creating a projection here. Okay, and when we project, it's creating illusions and thoughts forms. Okay, so we're creating thought forms. And so these thought forms are needing to be seen through in order for us to get into reality. And so there is an egoic self here, okay, that's really connected to, this says pride, and I do feel like it's the winning version, like the winning version of me that I see in the future, attaining that situation in a way that would make me happy, you know? I don't know, like landing that job or winning that person or having that dream relationship the way I want. So I'm going to put that version of me online, like we mentioned, but it's like the need to fulfill that egoic story. And so the more it doesn't come in line, the more we feel this state of suffering. So I feel more loneliness. I feel out of control. I feel like I'm losing my confidence or my self-esteem or something like this. Okay. And so I feel like, but I'm also feeling another energy here. And so whoever you're dealing with might be mirroring this shadowness, which is their need to let go of control. Okay. Because I feel like there is a control here, and maybe the control here is rejecting others. Don't let them close. I bypass the truth here of how I feel or what I want to express because I want to control, the distance, or I want to control and maintain the illusion that I'm in power here and that I can't be controlled by others or situation or circumstance, which is an untruth and overconfident, and so their pride might be getting in the way. And I do feel like for you, I was feeling this, you could flip the role, this self-sacrifice, self-forgetfulness and like bending over backwards. And so we have this like narcissistic empath sort of dynamic happening here. Okay, somebody high in their pride ego, but it's like overly confident, arrogance, and that sort of thing, bypassing and feeling superior, which it will make someone else feel invaluable if they believe the story of the narcissist, But in both situations, okay, there's this like true feeling going on underneath, because it's like the truest version of me isn't online. And so the truest version of me is helpless because it doesn't have a voice. And so you, okay, if you are the one that's sort of towing the line here or silencing your truth, it's like the version of me that wants to be free and seen and understood is being sacrificed right now so that I could attain some form of victory, some acceptance from this narcissistic person. Okay, I'm using the words narcissist really strong here because I do feel this paradigm or this like, no, what's it called? This like contrast of energy here, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so this is a return to reality. And the first card with the projection, neither people here are dealing with the truth of reality, because neither of these people have their truest version online, the authentic self. The ego's engaging with each other. Okay. And I feel like there's an exhaustion here, and there's an experiencing of what it feels like to lose the control, even when we think we have the control. And so what happens to us when this happens? The only thing we can really do is go take a deeper look at self, And so there's a looking at self as a result of feeling helpless with that ego identity, how we've always maybe navigated. And it could be like, I've always been like this, and it's always served me well, or it's always protected me, or it's always brought me peace, or it's always brought me X. Now I'm being like this, and it's bringing all sorts of suffering, misunderstanding, and, And now it's like, I can only, by this experience, take a look at myself. And this is very difficult to do, unless, of course, we're completely narcissistic and we just blame it on the other person, okay? Which could be a thing. I don't know. I don't see here yet. Okay, but I feel like there's a need to return to reality. There's a need to look at self. There's a need to also understand that not everybody is going to look at self. And so how does that impact us? It means we only have the ability to maintain our own energy, to do what we need to do, that we cannot force any sort of outcome or change anyone's opinion or do anything. So we really don't have control. Okay, which means being very vulnerable. And I feel like the vulnerability is in trusting that by letting go of this identity, this need for control, or this version of me, will make me feel exposed and vulnerable, and will come with a lot of dark thoughts. What if this don't work? Or what if it's for the worse? Or, all of this stuff. But there's a need to drop this ego. And so the shapeshifter, I really feel, is this energy of thinking of whatever situation we're dealing with, and then manipulating ourselves to fit that situation so that we attain the outcome. And this is sitting in my future position here, because I feel like if the ego can't get it one way, then it's going to try a different way, because it's easier to shapeshift the ego and the identity because the control is so strong and the fear, rather than say, maybe it's not about shape-shifting and trying to adapt to situation, but it's about accepting the truth of who I am and been silencing here, and let go of the control altogether. And the control means I don't need to shapeshift. I don't need to be a different person. I don't need to do anything except for look at myself and the truth. Okay, but that would be, again, being very vulnerable, and maybe even accepting that maybe things will go completely off the rails here, which again is this vulnerability. But I trust, and what are we trusting? Again, with all of these eights, like I was saying, it's like a trust of this self-awareness we now have, so that we can allow things to flow as reality wants it to flow. We're not manipulating, because again, the projection is versing reality. Which wins? Reality always wins, of course. We could be in denial and projection and fantasy all we want, and this could be a form of coping. But again, this is a bypassing of dealing with the truth and reality. And reality is, maybe we are dealing with a situation where there is no win, or where we won't attain what it is that we thinking we want. And this creates a lot of fear. But you're definitely dealing, I feel, with someone here who is high in ego and might be shape-shifting themselves, to protect themselves or to keep people out, because there's this huge rejection of others and control coming from either side. Okay, or maybe they really want you to do something or be something you're not, because I feel like there's this energy of like forcing things, in a way that they feel is right, or that they think needs to be accommodating to upkeep some sort of illusion, or some sort of, like I believe in something because I'm bypassing, it's keeping me safe and protected, and therefore the people around me must upkeep this illusion as well. And if you reveal my illusion, if you speak against my illusion, if you do anything against this, then you're part of the issue or the problem, or like I must get rid of you, or manipulate you in a way to go back onto this fantasy or this untruth. And you're like, I'm not gonna want to feed untruths, although you have been, I feel, because we've been maybe accommodating or acquiescing to someone's someone's illusion or someone's projection or someone's way of being, because maybe they have scared us, or maybe they, I don't know, and so, but it is this outcome that we're attached to, not necessarily the fear of this person, and so I think we need to understand the difference here, because we might feel like, it's like, oh, but this person's overpowering, or I have a good heart here, or I'm keeping an, like a higher vibration or a positive mindset here, which is great. But this is an illusion of something, because we're seeing in the subconscious there was a need for control. And when we have control, like I said, it stemmed from a fear. And I feel like this fear is talking about a projection of some future outcome that is really driving these actions. And so we're manipulating ourselves in all sorts of ways which aren't healthy, by the way, which is creating the suffering. And we're suppressing our joy and our authentic self because we're putting on a persona that's expected of us in this situation in order to keep peace or in order to upkeep some sort of illusion of another, which sounds very much like a narcissistic sort of paradigm here, okay? So we're going to get into this, although I do need water because I thought I brought water. So I'm going to pause this and we'll get into it. All right. Let's take a look, shall we? So this is in the C self. So we have being carefree, innocence, and non-commitment. Gluttony of experiences, refusal of limits. Interesting because we have liberation from limits. I'm getting an energy here of the person that you're dealing with, which is interesting because it's coming in self. So this could be giving you a look into whomever you're dealing with here. I feel like two energies, okay, for sure. There's one who's self-sacrificing for, they think the greater good, but really there's an underlying thing of a need for acceptance and control and happiness. Of course, we all want happiness, and so they think they need to fight for happiness. And the other person is trying to maintain their happiness or maintain some sort of illusion here by bypassing because it's too fearful to surrender control, to be vulnerable. And so there's an energy here, okay, of this non-committal energy that doesn't allow self to be vulnerable, doesn't allow self to be sincere and open and seen. Okay. And I feel like it's like, because I don't want to experience suffering. It's like this complete mirror here, I feel, because we had suffering in the crossing position, and here we have avoidance of suffering. And so it's like, if I could bypass. Okay, so this definitely could be somebody who's experienced a lot of pain, and they've convinced themselves that by doing this and just sort of turning to it's okay, or turning to the excessive joy here, that I could either choose to experience the fear right now or the vulnerability or the thing that makes me uncomfortable, or I could choose right now in this present moment to be carefree and choose the thing that makes me feel good, immediate gratification. And I keep choosing this. Okay, complete bypassing. And we don't have to suffer, but I feel like there's this energy of not seeing a great reality and a truth here. And so the more we sort of do this thing, the more we actually ostracize ourselves, because we're really just rejecting reality. And we're reinforcing the illusion of that everything is joyful, you know, like all the time. And that's fine if we think everything's joyful all the time and we're in this ignorant state because we are in the veil of ignorance. Okay, but I feel like it's creating the environment of non-committal and this environment of a true inauthenticity, because we can't be completely sincere and vulnerable or even kind if it goes against this sort of energy. And there's this rationalization that this is right because it brings me a feeling of joy. You know, and we say, well, of course we would want to choose joy. Why wouldn't we? But it is this illusion of joy. It's not true joy because the authentic self is still, again, being suppressed. The self here, okay, that when we silence any part of the self, there's a self within this person, okay, that wants to be accepted for who they are, just like everybody is, or everybody would want this. Okay, because everybody has the capacity to be vulnerable, the capacity to be sincere, the capacity to show up. Okay, but when we avoid and silence it for so long, we're silencing a part of our true self. And this part of our true self is going to create a lot of havoc and pain and suffering. So there could be an over excessive, this is gluttony of experiences. So it's like I must overdo it, you know, stimulate myself with substances, with addictions, with ways of being, to sort of constantly, and then this person's going to burn out and get tired here. Because in the stillness of true peace, the truest self comes forward. And if we have never felt face this true self, we're going to jump onto the silencer, which is whatever, the smoke, the drink, the sex, the partying, drugs, sex, rock and roll, whatever the thing is here, because we're really not at peace with ourselves. Okay, we're really not at peace with ourselves here. Oh boy. Okay, well, let's see. What's this environment then? They're reforming empathetic integrity, self-compassion, inspiring virtues, balanced justices, tolerant principles, ethical mentorship, 101. Avoidance, 27. Dispute, confrontation, villain role and quarrel and breakup. Make a choice, number 9. And we have negative reinforcement pattern. Okay, wow, this is a heavy pile, you guys. So balanced justice, tolerant principles, self-compassion. I feel like the person I was reading over here, okay, is in a projection and a delusion. And I think this person wants to keep around things that reinforce their delusion because it's safer. And this gives them the illusion of control, because as long as these things around me aren't bringing a mirror to me of something that I need to face, like my truest self, or that I am dependent on this false self because I might think that I am authentic or that I really have control. And so I need everyone in my vicinity to enforce this belief I have. Okay, but I don't know this. I just act this way. And so if you start to poke holes in my way of processing, which I think is legit, but really it's a form of bypassing and avoidance. And if you poke holes here, I'm going to dispute you. I'm going to do whatever I need to do here to protect myself. So it's a fight or flight energy, and you will become the enemy instantly. Okay. But there is this like reason this is happening, because I feel like there's a need for there to be a seeing through the illusion, a balancing of this way of being. In order to heal something, it must be brought to the surface and seen. Okay. But then there's also this need for self-compassion, but this says empathetic integrity, because I do feel like underneath all of this pain or this way of bypassing and being, there's a self that's crying out to be connected to, that is integral. Whether we can connect to this integral part of self is being shown to us by way of this circumstance, to show some form of choice, I feel here. Okay, making a choice, empathetic integrity. It's like, what am I choosing to be? And so I do feel like maybe we're really being shown a situation that is calling to the surface this, do I want to maintain in this bypassing energy, or do I have enough empathy in this situation right now in order to see through this negative pattern and do something about it? Okay. So I'm drinking. There's a wake up going on here. Okay. Well, we have Tarot 2 to clear up some of the stuff, but let's take a look at hopes and fears. So we have being successful, the veil of ignorance. So again, this is this identity, this egoic self. This is the 6 wands. Okay. A lack of authenticity, competitiveness here. Appearance is valuation. Leader, trust your instinct, inventiveness, courage, authority, embodiment, sharing, and exchanging. Another 8 here. And we have denying death, 62, which is another 8. 8's all over the place. So 8's are all about movement and change and attainment here, okay? 8's are also about authority and leadership, which we have leader here. This feels like a very strong sort of divine masculine energy when we're talking leader here, okay? Like a doing, okay? But from a place of authenticity and vulnerability and courage and trust, rather than the egoic place of image, a need for control. So I feel like someone is resisting. They're resisting change. They're resisting truth. They're resisting letting go of control, because to them, hanging on to this illusion and bypassing the truth makes them feel better and safe. And it gives the illusion that they're in control and that they are going to succeed and that this is the only way for them to win. But as we know, it's a lie. And the more we deny death, it doesn't stop the death at all. It just creates a bigger blow up when the death happens, you know, denying death of like our cat. What are we going to do? Carry around our dead cat everywhere? No, you know, we could definitely be in that mindset of like, oh, everything is fine, but we could be, you know, on our last sort of, I don't know, our last sort of thing here, and then it's a reality check. And so I feel like there's a very stubborn person here that is being called to walk in their courage and being called to speak authentically, not from the place of ego. And I don't know that this person has chosen this or is choosing this and is like hanging on to the world they know. That's very difficult here. Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at this outcome here that we have. Okay, so we have incompatibility 75, and we have scholar, deep knowing, visionary, realism. Okay, 88. I'm gonna keep telling you guys, a higher calling that is grounded in self-awareness and reverence for life. There's a lack of self-awareness here. It's just projecting. Okay, and this understanding that we have some form of control, which is false. Wow. Okay, and then we have ordinariness. Interesting, because over here we had what was it? Let's see. I thought there was one here. Yeah, being original, and then ordinariness, which is interesting because we have here being original, rehashing the past, envy and jealousy, comparison, living in lack, self-deluding, self-victimization. Here, ordinariness, conformism, platitude, routine, dullness, monotony, and mediocrity. 4, by the way, is emperor energy, which is this divine masculine energy. And look, 22. So 22 is a master number. Divinely guided relationships. Okay, healthy energetic boundaries, peacemaker, and diplomacy. And then we have self-awareness. Oh my goodness, what was I talking about this whole fucking time? 88, a higher calling that is grounded in self-awareness. This whole fucking thing, okay? And look, self-listening. So the only way to be self-aware is to listen to the authentic self. So all of this dog's breakfast, okay, of a situation here in order to see oneself, not from a place of projection out there, what's out there doing, what do I need to do to maintain out there, or the image that I'm putting out there, but what is it that I'm understanding about self? And so there's this hermit energy, okay, and there's also this moon energy, because I feel like fear is up in the mix when we need control. There's a lack of self-understanding, and it needs to do the self-work, or the hermit's work, or the hermit's journey. And then there's a delusion here with the moon that we're seeing out there as being threatening, or out there is this way, but it's all an illusion based on the egoic self that's looking out there as a threat. And so there's a need to express one's needs, but not the needs of the gluttonous self here. And so when we start to believe that we're this identity, okay, I'm the free being, or I'm this original being, and I'm the one that's non-committal here, or that has this thing. It's like, no, your ego identity believes to be this thing, and it connects and equates it with freedom and authenticity and doing what I want, when I want, and how I want, and joy comes to me. But it's a false sense of joy, because it's pegged to the illusion of that version of self, because the truest self is actually being suppressed. It hasn't expressed its need. Its need to be vulnerable. Its need to be empathetic and caring and seen from that place. Emotional expression too, which I feel is being suppressed here because I feel like someone is, again, rejecting others by this inability to be vulnerable and express oneself authentically. And so if we don't see that we're doing this, we never resolve it. And so this big fat lesson is all about seeing ourselves here. And I feel like this person's like, I won't conform, or I won't, give into this thing because this is going against who I am. Meanwhile, it's like, well, you don't know who you are at all. You only know the version of you that you have been for a long time. And so you equate that with, this is who I am. No, it's not. It's creating a lot of suffering, especially I feel like there's a situation here where there's a lot of dispute, and it could have created the breakup. And so this breakup is now feeling abandoned. Okay, and when we feel abandoned, we start to have to self-reflect, and maybe at first we blame other and it's not me, or we make all sorts of reasons and bypass. But then when we sit there, there's a choice to be made. Do I sit here blaming other and move on and not heal? Or is this choice for me to face the fear of maybe the delusion? Because a part of me knows I've been bypassing, because there is a part of me that's been silenced. I could feel it. It's suppressed. It's the authentic self. It's the understanding that I haven't been vulnerable or spoke my full truth, which is really from a place of leadership. It's really from this place of courage and strength with all the eights that's been called to the surface many times again. Have courage, face your fear, face your fear. But no, I will remain strong in my energy and not do that, and all that I experience is what I have experienced, which is suffering and disappointment, and then turn back to this covering it up with this carefree energy of gluttony, and rationalize this thing. But I'm avoiding the suffering. I'm avoiding doing this. And so someone really is avoiding looking at themselves and the truth, but now we have this deep knowledge and this visionary and this realism. And I feel like there is this we can't unlearn, through, if we have an experience, you can't undo an experience. And I feel like with this experience, or with this sort of information coming forward, there is, what do I do with it? Because I could continue to bypass and turn a blind eye and live in inauthenticity, and knowingly now, because it's out of the shadow or out in the open, where in the past it was like, I could avoid the shadow. I didn't have to address it because it wasn't as apparent. But now it's like, whoa, I'm being put up against this, either this dispute or this need for change, or this thing that's become out in the open now. Wow, yeah, 88. Sorry, I know I just keep getting blown away by all these eights. And so it's out in the open now. And so there's either I'm incompatible with reality, or I can continue down the path that I have been doing, but I'd be incompatible with this, whatever this is, which I feel is showing up as a mirror for this person. It's like, either you step up and be compatible, or you continue to be in an energy that you're believing to be you, which, by the way, it isn't. It's how you've been, for sure, but not who you are, and be incompatible to this situation. And really, it's up to you, and that's the choice I feel here. So someone is being shown something, and it kind of flipped here, because I did feel like you, viewer, I was going to say virgin. Oh my goodness. You, viewer, for coming up here as someone who is dealing with someone who is very challenging. And this is the challenging person I see here, and maybe in the past is like you had to withdraw your energy from this person. You had to pull back, because I do feel there was a realization, like I'm dealing with someone who is in heavy bypass and heavy illusion, and maybe very much numbing themselves here. And they're choosing this veil of ignorance in order to protect themselves. So how long do they stay in this state, right? Okay, so we're going to pull tarot. I'm going to put this sort of away. Okay, and then we'll get into the tarot. Give me a sec. All right, tarot time. So I don't know which one you are, and we're looking at we were taking a deep dive into your energy, but it could be your energies like, what do I do with this? Or you could definitely be this person who is showing a narcissistic trait here, because an inability to self-reflect, from a place of empathy too. So this person could certainly be a really, again, like there's a need for compassion and empathy, but it doesn't come, because again, it's like this fight or flight, and I'd rather just protect the illusion that I have of self. Okay, so let's see. Spirit, why is pile 1 seeing this in their reading today? Maybe you're needing guidance, although I do feel like you're pulled away somehow here, but what is the guidance? And if this is the person here who is fearing vulnerability, or who has this a way of coping, what are they supposed to do? Why are we seeing this? Seeing this for a reason. Spirit, clear and concise message for pile number 1. 8 swords. Alrighty. Self-limiting beliefs, which keep us stuck. Six of Cups. And we have the 4 of Wands, and this was coming in reverse, clarifying this 6 Cups. Wow. Some of you guys might be dealing with a twin flame with all of that mirroring, and my 1111 card coming through here. This is soulmate, soul recognition, childhood stuff that's being brought up. Okay, this is that lack of commitment and someone in their fears. Okie dokie. So we're silencing this inner child. We have 8 pentacles, and then we have the sun in reverse. Okay, just how I pulled it there, but it's hard to know if they're reverse or upright because, like I said, they're sideways cards. Okay, so we have justice. Yeah, karmic stuff here. Okay, so this is Libra energy, and then we have chariot, which is Cancer energy, and then we have the hermit. Wow. Look at major arcana, and then we have the Knight of Swords. Okay, under Knight Swords we have the 3 of Pentacles. Leo, I don't know if I mentioned that. Virgo, Cancer, and Libra. Okay, just let me see. What is Spirit talking about here then? Temperance at the bottom, or under that, which is Sagittarius, and it is in reverse. The Devil. Oh my goodness, definitely not surprised to see Devil. Capricorn energy. Okay, beautiful people. My goodness. Others. You might be having dealings, of course, like I said, with somebody here, okay? And this person could be very matter of fact and very harsh here with this Knight of Swords, They might come in and say whatever, and like truth, full of conviction. It could be painful. However, this Knight of Swords comes in, because this Knight of Swords is like someone who comes in for attack in some way to get across whatever it needs to do. And what this person needs to do is protect their illusion, their delusion, their illusion. They're bypassing because they don't want to experience suffering the way that they think they'd experience suffering. So they'll do whatever it is, including lie, steal, and rob from the poor, obviously, and lie to themselves in some capacity that whatever they are doing is within their justification, rationalization. So they put their own parameters, who knows where it's at. It could be, no, but I don't steal from the poor and I don't do all those things, but I do these other things, which is treat someone like shit, say that, anything that's not in line with my reality is negative, or whatever truth that I'm making for myself. And if you go against it with your own ideas, even if you're trying to be compassionate, even if you're trying to have dialogue, even if we're trying to rectify something, I'm going to do what I do here to protect it. Very sort of, sort of an energy here that's not workable. Okay. And they're not workable because it's my way or the highway. We can only build when 2 people are being understood and accepted, and 2 sides are sort of balanced. This is the only way we can build. But according to this person, it's like We can only build it in the way that I say that it needs to be built. It's in the paradigm that I create and this illusion world, And so if you don't buy the story of the illusion or whatever, you're going against this person, and I don't think this person likes it. And so this person's coming up in your business to either try to convince you, try to shame you, try to bully you, try to do whatever to keep their egoic thing alive. This person needs healing. Okay, now we're seeing the big barn, and I see the barn here in the background. The barn here is the Three of Pentacles. Here's the barn in the background here, and here's someone trapped in this Eight Swords. I think you feel stuck because I think that you are really willing to work with this person, and you're looking at like, how then can there be a collaboration? How then could there be balance? How then could there be harmony here? How do I become harmonious with someone that's in illusion? How do I work through this, But at the same time, I feel like with this Eight of Swords, there's this untruth, because I do feel like we might be still not accepting certain things we don't want to see or understand that is truth, that might go against this Three Pentacle. Okay, meaning maybe there is no Three Pentacle to be had here. I can't work with this person. But the thought is like, I could find a way, or I can do something here, especially with this bird. We might be trying to have honest communication. But someone like this, I don't feel would be honest if they don't need to be honest, if it requires protecting and bypassing the truth in order for them to maintain their position. And so we could be very Eight of Swords, believing that honest truth will fix something, or that something's going to provide this liberation. And I think what you're thinking provides you liberation is actually not true. I don't think communicating with this person provides you liberation. I don't think working together is providing liberation for you. I think this is creating an Eight Swords for you, keeping you stuck, and bless you, because I do feel like you're wanting some form of communication and truth, but at the same time, again, we saw in your energy, it was like, where's this stemming from? There's an attachment to an outcome here, which is, in this case, it's like a Three Pentacle, so that I can work with this person. It's like, but then you're controlling how the universe says who you have to work with in order to build something. And it might not be this person that you're supposed to build with. And so it's very difficult to let this sort of truth fall. Okay, but this is the karma we're working through. And I feel like what Spirit's really talking about is there's going to be balance and shadow integration. And what's the shadow here? Both people are dealing with their shadow. One is silencing true self in order to keep peace and create a persona in order to be accepted and loved. And the other person is in shadow by rejecting and creating this powerful version of being in control and silencing anything that opposes it, to the point that they're suppressing, being vulnerable, and letting anyone in. And so these are the shadows that are being integrated and balanced and healed in order for there to be childhood wounding that gets resolved here, because I do feel that there's this agreement of sorts that was supposed to sort of happen between two. Okay, and this does sound very twin flamish, like I said, in order for there to be harmony and restoring balance of self. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean balance of two people coming together, but a balance of self here that needs to be seen and understood through a process of deep reflection, introspection, but it's from the authentic place, not from the place of the ego, which is the, that fear is driving me to act in a certain way and upkeep some sort of image so I could protect the outcome that I wanted. It's like, no, the only way through is to accept some form of truth, no matter how challenging. And so I feel like Spirit's really talking about continue working through. Okay. And I want to say work through. It's like only working with truths, only working with the authentic self, only working with your own energy without being impacted by someone else's projections, someone else's shape shifting, someone else's bypassing. Okay. It will be revealed to you soon. And happiness is here. Okay. But it's delayed or prolonged, and we're not seeing it. But Spirit is assuring, like working through this self-work and this shadow integration will create balance and will pull you out of any sort of karmic situations where we're dealing with people who are very confrontational, who are unable to work with us, who are unhealed, who can't show up, who are imbalanced, who are rocking our peace. Okay, I feel like this is not a peaceful situation at all. And with the devil here, this person could certainly be battling, like I said, addictions, and I feel like there's a codependent energy here, of like, yeah, like a codependency. So there's maybe being obsessively sort of pulled towards resolving this thing until it gets healed and integrated, and we find balance of self. Okay, with the devil and the four wands, to me, always sort of talks about like a twin flame connection here that's really showing us something that's really deep wounded here that's needing to be addressed and looked at. So yeah, like this person has their own devil demons that they're needing to sort of deal with and heal with and balance out so that they could become available to work in society, or they could stay in ignorance and just bypass and continue to dance with the devil, in delusion, thinking that they are accurate or right, but the devil has a hold of this person. And so Spirit's also talking about the sun casts light, okay, and the devil is nothing but a big old shadow. It's the absence of God, okay, the devil. It's not a second power that's like battling God because it's as strong. Okay, we're giving the devil too much power if we think it's another entity. God is the one power, okay, and God is love, and God is light. And so this light, once it's cast, meaning all love, all light, on this devil, the devil has nowhere to go. And so I feel like your energy is one that holds this light, that can shine the light on this devil. And then the devil has to be seen through for what it is, the big illusion. What's the big illusion? It was that bypassing. It was the way that we handle situations. It was the way that we have no empathy, or we are incapable of working with others. And so I believe it because I'm authentic and non-committal, and this is the me that I am. It's like, no, that's just your devilly abandonment wounds talking. And then it's creating all sorts of coping mechanisms that are unhealthy. And once this person sees this, then they have a choice to either continue down that path, which most people do not do once they see it, once they see their own shadow, or to continue in ignorance in that way, And so if this person wants to continue being inauthentic, dancing with the devil, then they can do as such. But the sun, the sun will like eradicate the devil. There is no, the devil still remains, unless, of course, like I said, we're in complete illusion, pretending, But this is like the devil, I feel, for this person is real, is real. In their mind, they believe it to be real. And when the sun shines the light and says there is no devil here, I don't think this person's going to pretend the devil is still there, because the person that I'm seeing here thinks that the devil is real. They're really under that belief, But I don't think you shine that light yet. It's coming, but why haven't you? Because I think you got held up by an 8 swords, still trying to work maybe with this person, or still trying to believe something here, or your own limitation of your own freedom. And so I think you've been working through integrating something, and it could be from a place of compassion and love, that you've been trying to work through what is compassion and love. And then it's like, how do I extend it to myself? And how do I engage in the world like this? This takes a lot of reflection and understanding that we're not just martyring ourselves, or that we're not just, somebody here that could get taken advantage of in some way. And so I feel like there was a falling apart here, because we're seeing like separation and dispute. And I feel like this could really trigger this person into an awakening of sorts, or seeing themselves for what's really going on here, and being upset with you because you're the one that's sort of cast this light. But I think all you're really doing is like, like choosing your own peace and seeing that you don't have any limitation here as to your own great truth. And then even seeing this like elk in the background, which is giving me divine masculine energy. And I'm feeling like an energy coming towards you here, and maybe it's like, instead of making a choice to sort of see this devil thing and let it go, this person might be more aggressive. because this elk looks like it's, following this hermit. And this Knight of Swords is certainly coming towards in a threatening way. And so I feel like this person feels threatened, and I feel like this person might be coming towards you. And I feel like this might be part of this karmic thing. And I feel they feel threatened based on you maybe no longer, like pulling your energy. We saw withdrawal. Like I said, you've withdrawn, you've pulled your energy, and you're working through your 8 swords. I feel like this is past position. I feel right now maybe you're moving forward, or you're integrating this belief. Maybe you're focused on work, or you're focused on your own happiness, or like securing what's going to make me happy. Because clearly whatever this was not making you happy. And so it's like, what does make me happy? What does bring me peace? What is clear? I don't want to deal with uncertainties and lack of clarity and guesswork and all this stuff. And so there's this focus on clarity, a focus on happiness. And maybe you thought this person was your happiness, or working with this person would bring happiness, and is designed like this for a reason, like I said, because it's being reflected back to us, a part of our childhood or a part of ourselves that we were really needing to integrate, the need for control by devaluing ourselves and being accepted. It's like, I'll do whatever to be accepted or to have this outcome that I'm seeing and wanting. It's like, okay, well, no, this isn't healthy or helpful, and it all leads to feeding someone else's delusion or power. Someone else thought they had power here. So I do feel for this group. We're going to see what happens with these two. Okay, don't take the story. If it's not yours, then it's not yours. Don't care. Just reading cards. So let's see what happens here with these two. The Spirit, can we see what happens here with these two? What does Pile 1 need to know to close this out? What am I missing? Because I do feel like that Knight of Swords is coming forward with wanting some sort of conversation, but I feel like it's a dispute. Or are they really open to a conversation? Or are they trying to manipulate energy in order to, again, you must buy my bypassing? Because if you buy my bypassing, if you buy my delusion and my devil, then it must mean that it's okay. It's like, no, I will not bypass. I will not feed your devil and your illusion, and keep your beliefs to yourself if they are not based in reality. I will not partake. I'm turning these all in the same sort of way like that, okay? Just so we know. What does Pile 1 need to know then in regards to what is this? So let's call him a sociopath, or this person. And if this is you, then I'm sorry. We're needing to see ourselves, and the ego will fight and kick and scream to be right. And it truly believes that it has some leg to stand on here, okay? But it's painful. So 8 of Wands, yeah, communication coming at you. Again, Knight of Swords, 8 of Wands, very fast, and this person might be fast talker. It's like, I'm going to talk you into this. I'm going to talk you into this as fast as I can in some way, or say whatever I need to say. Because again, I'm feeling this fight or flight type energy, and it's like, oh no, if my illusion isn't real, what does that mean about me? So please, I don't know. It's just a fast energy here. 10 of Swords. Wow. Maybe this person feels like, you had to end things here, and they might feel slighted or betrayed. And it's like, let's talk about this. Okie dokie. So I'm going to turn it this way. Like I said, Page of Wands, there's more communication. Queen of Pentacles, I feel that's your energy. Okay, so Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, she's in reverse. And the 6 of Cups in reverse. This person's not letting it go. And there's Judgment. Wow. Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Swords in reverse. Okie dokie. Wow, 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 wow. Spirit. And then we have the 3 of Wands. Okay. Beautiful angels. I feel like there has been an ending. And there is an ending in process underway here with the 10 swords. Painful. Okay, it doesn't matter who did the ending. It's painful either which way. And I feel what this is creating is a shift in energy with the 3 of Wands of the next experience, whatever the next experience is, whether you're solo or not solo, I don't know necessarily. All this is showing to me is heavy communication coming inwards because you are withdrawn. I feel like if you're still codependent on a situation here, it's going to rear its ugly head here in order to see, do you see the truth? Have you resolved your childhood wounding? Have you resolved maybe your abandonment wounds? Have you resolved whatever was being shown to you through this karmic thing? Have you seen the light? What is the light? That you're worthy, that you don't need to depend on narcissistic people or other people that to make you delusional or feed their delusions, or settle for non-committal people or people who are clearly not good for you. Okay, you're going to have a new beginning with this Ace of Cups and this Three of Wands. However, how is this new beginning? This new beginning could be repeating a cycle with some smooth talker here, because this person is coming towards you because there's been an ending. This is what's driving this person. Has this person seen through their delusions? I don't think so, because your sun was in reverse. And I still feel like Spirit is talking about you coming to an understanding of your own self and your own self-worth through the Hermit's work with the 8 Pentacles and the Hermit. If you haven't integrated the shadow, seen something truthfully and clearly, you are bound to repeat a new beginning, another cycle here with someone that's still not based in truth. Okay, because there's a codependency and an inability to move on. It's like, I keep thinking about you. You know, again, the devil. It's like 6 cups in reverse. It's on repeat. Memories, person, place, thing of the past. I remember, I can't move on. I can't see past this. I'm dependent on this situation still because I'm still not breaking through this thing. Okay, so you need to sort of know where you're at. And I think because it's only a 10 swords and we're not seeing like death and we're not seeing something, we are seeing judgment though in the upright, which means a realization. Okay, but judgment means what? Means the second card would be the World, which is ending a cycle successfully. This judgment just means we're at the point of recognition and now we have a decision to make. And then we see a new beginning, which to me means we're repeating a whole cycle all over again. Okay, now we might come with new insight for sure, because I do feel there was something learnt this time around. But I think the main lesson here of seeing one's value and not being codependent and being able to free oneself and move forward from painful situations is still not integrated here, because we're still not accepting some truth. Because the truth always is more of a difficult path to walk, you know? And so we might give into it's easier this way, or it just feels whatever it feels, you know, but that's a codependency. And so I'm feeling strong devil. I'm feeling strong codependency. I'm feeling strong in denial. I'm feeling strong a repeat of something, but I am also feeling that we understand something different, you know, and we might understand something about ourselves better. Okay, which maybe is we might put a certain understanding out there that's like, well, here's my prerequisite or something like this, you know, and maybe this person's like, okay, that makes sense. But I still feel like there's something here about you silencing yourself, or you not embracing some form of self that's being suppressed here to appease, you know, appease the situation. And the only reason we would be appeasing this in a way of discomfort here is because there's a strong intensity here that we can't move past, because Spirit keeps showing this karmic thing in front of us to heal, which is what? Our need for self-love. And the way that we're going about it is through other. It's like other is going to give me self-love, or this situation, once it approves of me and sees me, then finally I'll be loved and accepted, because as a child, I didn't get it from the parent, or it was missing, or this was the thing that was being shown to me. And so this person will bring it. I will appease this person or change this person or do something here where I finally attain this validation that I need in order for me to feel okay. It's like, no, you don't need to do that, you know? But of course I could say it all day long, unless you experience it and go through this, seeing through this, which is the sun. We're still not seeing it. And we're still not seeing it because we're still not healed. You know, Temperance in reverse. We're still not seeing it because maybe there's more karmically here that this person also needs to learn that Spirit knows about. And so they're coming back towards you because Spirit's like, yeah, this person still doesn't see their own light. They still are in their shadow. They're still shape-shifting and all this stuff. However, there is a promise of moving forward here, okay? And I feel like it's moving forward, repeating another sort of cycle lesson here, and maybe it's seeing more shadows of each other, you know, but whatever you did experience with this person, I feel like something's come to an end, which is great because this is an end, you know, so it's an end of something, in order for it never to rear its ugly head. But has it all been healed? Has it all been seen? Has it all been rectified? No, not at all. But I feel there's a peaceful new beginning because we're accepting or seeing something, that maybe in the past we haven't yet seen. Okay, but there's still healing here for sure. So yeah, King of Swords. I feel this person's coming forward towards you, okay? And they want to talk and they have their understanding. And I feel this person's very headstrong on their way. And they might talk you into understanding where they come from. And you might logically say, okay, makes sense, But I feel like you're 8 swords and you're also codependent. And I feel like you're easily swayed. And I feel there's a little bit of naivete here with this little lamb. And it's coming from a place of the inner child that wants to believe, and an unconditional loyalty, which, people we need to know who we're loyal to and they need to deserve the loyalty. And so I feel there's more questions, there's more hermit work, there's more introspection. I feel like there's a need for enlightenment with the sun to find peace and your joy that's outside of this connection. And so maybe you're finding your joy simultaneously while you sort of navigate this tumultuous relationship, because you're still not aligned with your joy. You're still, I feel, devalued here, or you're still codependent on this person to bring you some form of recognition here, and it doesn't need to be this way at all. So pile number 1, this is your reading. I hope this helped you, and I will see you at the next one. All right, bye-bye. Hello, pile number 2. You guys picked the Chrysocolla wand, and we're looking at your energy. Okay, so we're doing a Celtic cross. And like I mentioned, sometimes we tap into energy of people around us in regards to our situation, circumstance. Okay, if that's the case, then only take the messages that resonate for you. You can crisscross energy as you see fit. Okay, so we're going to ask Spirit for a deep dive into what's going on energetically with you. Spirit, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good here of pile number 2. What are they needing to know? Oh, that's weird. I've never taken off the top. I'm feeling like taking off the top. All right. Take it off the top. All right. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2. Dancing cards. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2. We have leader revealing itself. What is it that pile 2 is needing to know in regards to their energy at this time? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2. This is very interesting the way it's coming through energetically, you guys. All right, one of these. For pile number 2, Spirit, what do they need to know about what is going on around them at this time? Okay, let's get this in the right spot. Crossing. For pile number 2. Can being drawn back to the blind spot oracle. Clear and concise message for pile number 2, Spirit. And one more. Okay. Do we need this one? Yes. Okay. Okie dokie. Let's get into your reading. Covering energy. Reactivity, luxury, and idolization. Oh, my goodness. Let's cover this bad boy up. 53 and 8, 38, and 4. 22 is a master number. Okay, so healthy energetic boundaries, divinely guided relationships. We have idolization, comparison and jealousy, excessive nostalgia, feeling of emptiness, emotional complexity, deprivation, excess. We have excess showing up twice, seduction, without respect, exploiting others. Oh, there's some wild behaviors going on back here. All right, reactivity, interesting. I have a feeling you're feeling like your situation or your energy at this time almost feels like it's out of your own control. And you might be feeling really pulled. There's like an energy here. I'm almost feeling it's kind of like a devilly energy, okay? Because I do feel like there's a pull here and a not really sort of understanding maybe where drivers are coming from in regards to what we're doing and how we're reacting or responding to situations, which might leave us feeling out of control or feeling like we don't have any control or feeling reflecting back to ourselves maybe that, I don't know, that we don't have any sort of control over our own decisions in some way, or like our situation is overpowering or our need for something here. And I don't know exactly what this is. Let's see what's crossing. So we have means to an end attitude. Exactly. It's like to attain some sort of validation, justification, or scratch some sort of itch, or sort of doing whatever it takes. This is what it seems like. So we have lie, sneakiness, deception, trickery, falsehood, and simulation and appearance. And then we also have revelations, expansion of consciousness, duality, transcendence, prophecy, mental clarity, universal knowledge, and increased understanding. 5 and 3 and 74, which is 11. Okay, so I think we are being called to identify our own actions, because there is an action here of a means to an end, meaning I turn a blind eye to maybe knowing better or understanding better. And I feel like there is this energy that's wanting recognition from within you to observe self and also to identify where we might be deceiving ourselves through way of either avoidance of truths or deceiving ourselves through way of going along with something we feel it doesn't feel right, or it doesn't seem like it's authentic, or doesn't feel like it is truly aligned with a greater truth for a means to an end, meaning there's some outcome here. Okay, so but with revelations, it's like coming to understand this clearly. Okay, let's keep going here. So we have disbelief in the subconscious with 69 and 6, and it says taking on responsibilities, personal decision, insecurity, taking risks alone, breakdown of trust, and destruction of beliefs. Then we have leader, trust your instinct, inventiveness, courage, authority, embodiment, sharing, and exchanging. And then we have wanting to be right, 29, or the number 11. I feel like we feel really pressured. There's a pressure coming from within, okay? This pressure that we carry has been generated and it's being carried by ourselves. And I think we need to understand why we're carrying such an energy, because this energy is really driving our actions, which are blind actions, by the way, meaning blind, meaning there is in the moment things we're doing that is misaligned with the greater truth in order to prove ourselves or to validate something or to win a position of approval, a position of winning, or a position of control in some way here. And it could be because what would happen if I failed, or what would people say if I didn't succeed? So this is almost like an integrity thing. I think we're taking on, like, it feels like a 10 of Wands energy, all to achieve like a 6 of Wands. But I feel like none of it is like based in truth so much as it is the driver of proving an image or self-proof. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, well, what's in the passing energy here? We have the truth. 32. Limitations of knowledge, relationship life, philosophy, emotional life, why to understand, physical embodiment. A lot of blue, which is the authentic expression, solitude, preservation, isolation, cocoon, solidarity. Solitary, and then protection and withdrawal. Interesting. And then we have their goodness with 13. And this is Scorpio energy and transformation. And we have Hierophant energy coming through very strong here. Yes. Okay. Which is Taurus, by the way, and then some Sagittarius. But really what I'm feeling here, very strong energetically. There is a situation that is some hierarchical structure or some need to belong to. It's either a way of life process or a system that we subscribe to. I don't know what this is. I subscribe to this idealization or this way of being or this understanding of how people of my circumstance must behave or must do, or this is what's expected of me based on my understanding that I carry, which, by the way, is a very heavy burden here. So either it got handed down as I must carry the torch. So this would look something like, like being strong means don't show emotion and just sort of tough things out and go through situation regardless and don't complain about it. And that's like showing tough and showing that you can withstand, certain situations that might be difficult, rather than like admit that maybe it's not aligned, because that would be weaker. So there's some sort of structure here. And I feel like what we're doing in order to upkeep this structure is we're dismissing what is actually right. Okay, and when I say right, what is aligned? What's more aligned with truth and authenticity? And so it's like all of this other stuff might be aligned with a greater truth and authenticity, but because of my experience and my understanding of how I have to be or how I have been, I am dismissing this truth, and I am doubling down in the area of upkeeping some Hierophant story, but it creates all sorts of challenge for this person. And I am reading it like it's you, because we only see one energy here, but it could definitely be someone you're dealing with. And it seems to me like it's created some sort of form of isolation. Yeah, it's some form of isolation that's appearing in our energy field as a result of the decisions we're making and what we're aligning with. Okay, let's see what's up here then. Wow. So we have pushing them away, 63, or the number 9, and we have scholar, deep knowledge, visionary, realism, erudition, specialist, and concentration. And then we have 35 with power, balanced relationships, self-assertiveness, freedom, blunt truth, real justice, accepting vulnerability. Okie dokie. And 88 is a master number. This is about a higher calling that is grounded in self-awareness and reverence for life. So we're putting on some act here, okay? I don't know who this person is. This act is to maintain some sort of status quo. And we could really believe that this status quo is me, or is right, or is in the highest truth. And it's at the expense of true freedom, true speaking our our truest, deepest truth here about something. And so it's pushing out what is aligned, what is real, what is going to bridge some sort of gap here at the expense of maintaining this, whatever this thing is. And so we feel even more isolated, but we're sort of creating this isolation ourselves. Okay. Okay, well, let's see what's in the immediate future here. We have looking to the outside and projection, very aligned. 33 is a master number. Reproduction, creativity, humor, increased consciousness, joy, harmony. So it says expulsion from yourself. External reapproach, shifting, victimization, externalization, and external attribution. Looking to the outside. Loss of meaning, 73. Intense self-criticism, feeling of futility, exhaustion, extreme shame, anger, resurgence, deep dissatisfaction. Okay. Whoever I'm tapped into here is trying to upkeep their image to the point where they're going to hit a breaking point of dissatisfaction. At first, it might be, how long can I go? Okay, and everyone sort of has their breaking point because is really feeling a 10 wands in order to maintain some form of a win here, some story and some identity. And we're sort of selling our own soul, our own truth. And then I feel like there is this giving our power to the situation and also sort of saying the situation is the issue, or the situation's created this circumstance. And also that if only the situation, was able to validate me or do something here, then something would be resolved or rectified in some way. There's this is tough because this feels almost like we really believe something that underneath it all we didn't really believe, but we were like believing it so that we could hit a point of, what's the word? It's like almost I'll take my chances. I'll take my chances going down this way, and then we take our chance and then it doesn't pan out. And then we sort of no one to blame but ourselves, but then we still don't blame ourselves. And it's like, why did it not work? It's because of everything that happened. And so there's still a shifting of accountability here, I feel, and this is, like I said, in the future position when that 10 wands breaks. And so this is why we do tarot. It's like, am I intervening? Am I able to do something before I get to this dark night of the soul and this loss of meaning? And it's like, what can the outside sort of do to help now that I have this sort of creation that I've created here that's very misaligned? This feels very heavy. So let's see, what's this about? We have wishing and willing with harm. Wishing and willing harm, 37 and 10. Okay. Harmony, 36 and 9. Quest for answers, human relationships, non-violence, balance, empathy, inner peace, diversity, and opinions. I feel there's a heavy sabotage here. Excessiveness, greed for pleasure, debauchery, gluttony, insatiability, intemperance, which is the opposite of this balance, intemperance, simulation, need. Whoever this person is, okay, I don't know necessarily if this is you or who this is, but what this person's doing is like creating a self-sabotage. And the more they lean into this self-sabotage, the more they might feel it's like they double down in the self-sabotage and create this harm that they feel is like that they deserve in some sort of way. And I feel like there's this reason they're doing it, which is all for this revelations, this seeing how to restore harmony, how to not create harm for themselves and for others, to see deeply with this 9, which is giving me Hermit, which is to see this shadow side. Because I do feel like this person, again, is choosing this sort of image, 6 wands type energy, but I'm really getting now this 9 cups in reverse with this debauchery and this insatiability too, because they can never really fulfill their like need to be seen in a certain way. And it's like it's so controlled by the outside. So if the outside doesn't approve of me, no matter how much I'm doing this thing, then it's sort of dictating my value. Wishing and willing harm. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to see the tarot here. So let's see. What is this? I see self energy. Let's just shift this. Yeah, this is this way and that's that way. Okay. Running away from emotion. Neglected daily life, spiritual victimization, feeling unworthy, idolization, comparison, desire of recognition, attachment to the past. Oh my goodness, you guys, 58 and 4. And then we have prostitution. Like, is it selling our soul? Okay, this doesn't necessarily have to be like sexual, but degrading behavior, depravity, scam, pimping, belittlement, and manipulation. This is the very heavy energy of what I'm tapped into here. Somebody is selling their integrity of what they know inside is right by repeating what they know is harmful and wrong to themselves and in a situation here, by neglecting what is right, running away from truth in order to not have to face some form of emotion, which could be something here that is stuffed down. So it's like I'd be too vulnerable. And then the analogy that I use is like, real men don't cry, you know, or real strong people don't give into emotion, or some sort of illusion that we have here. And so I'll give more to this Hierophant story, the Hierophant story of what I was trained. The real men don't cry, or that I must do this thing or be in this sort of whatever setup, because that's what's expected of me, or from my family to me, or my own sort of past experience. And I really want to be recognized for my strength, or for this. This is what I want to be recognized for, what I'm not. You know, again, looking to the outside, because I'm not this version of me, but I'm acting this way. And so I think this is me, this sabotaging and this like selling myself and then saying that, no, but I'm choosing this. So this is obviously me. But it's like, no, that's not you. This is the way you're engaged and behaving because you're deflecting something here. And this is only stemmed from allowing ourselves to receive good things, you know, because again, they're bypassing this goodness. It's like what could be good for me, I'm not engaged with. So I keep entertaining what's not good for me. Okay, very weird. The mask of altruism, yeah, for the greater good of all. This is the highest thing, you know, 64 and 10 again. Channeling, spirit brings perception, clairvoyance, past lives, dilated time, clairaudience, and divine guidance. 85 and 4, mystical experience. And then we have frustration, lesson giver, restriction, nitpick, critical, impatience, and resentments. Whoever this person is, I feel like they're going strictly against their intuition, completely, hands down. And the more they're sort of going against the intuition and what they know is right, the bigger the frustration here, and the bigger the harder the tower falls here, especially with this resentment. And I feel like they're coming into this, where was it? Itchy. There was victim blaming somewhere. Yeah, victimization, resentments. The bigger the sort of realization this person's going to have about the severity of their choices and how they painted it up to be right or proper or in line with some greater truth when it isn't. Clearly it isn't. This is, I don't even have a word for this thing. Okay, so now I'm in the outcome here. Withdrawal, mentalization, conspiracy, isolation, pullback, disinvestment, and aggressiveness. apparition, vision of guardian angels, synchronicities, inner strength, inner guidance, divine protection, absolute confidence, judgments. Oh my goodness, 32. And we have a bulldozing at 5, and this was coming in reverse, which I'm going to take into consideration here, especially this Hierophant with 5. Okay. Whoever this person is, if you're dealing with this person, it's going to be like a wake-up reality slap in the face here. There's only so much we're able to push our way through using control and force, using some format here to create some form of outcome or understanding. And it only goes a certain farness, okay? Certain distance, to the point where it can't be carried no more, especially when it's against the greater truth. And so this person is getting signs, symbols, synchronicities, is being called intuitively in order for them to guide themselves towards what is actually authentic. And I think this person is trying to pull at every single thing to justify this behavior. And it's really catching up to this person. And so this outcome of this withdrawal, I feel like this person is going to completely have this opposite energy, because they were trying with bulldozing. Okay, and it was in the reverse, because I do feel like the opposite here is like knowing that we can't effectively control situation. We just withdraw and pull our energy back. Like, this is what we have been guided to do. And our understanding is this now. It's like, I can't keep going heavy in that one direction. That direction is now closed. And now I'm being shown this thing with absolute, it says absolute confidence, because I feel like there's no wiggle room for this person to lie to themselves. It's like they've seen the truth of something here. But it is going to require this inner strength. And also this inner guidance is this like being guided by the divine to make different choices and decisions here. And so this person's lesson is all about accepting some greater truth. Okay. And they're in the weeds of this thing, like severely. Yes. They're experiencing or going to experience very soon the ramifications of going against their intuition and choosing whatever it is that they chose here to obtain some sort of Hierophant image. Okay, so now that we saw all this, which took crazy amounts of cards, I'm going to pull the tarot. Okay, and then we're going to dive into this energy, which I don't feel is yours, but it could certainly be. So give me a moment. I'll be right back. All right, pile number 2. Let's take a deep dive while we're seeing this. What do we need to know? What does pile 2 need to know then about this energy? Why are we being shown this energy? I think if this person understood that they were going to be experiencing a power and a loss of control, and the opposite is actually being manifested as a result of these decisions, I don't know that this person would go guns a-blazing into that direction. And for whatever reason, I do feel like they understand in an intuitive level that is going to be the outcome. But there's almost like this disappointment when the outcome does happen this way, that, you know, like they were the cause of the, I don't know, the outcome. Let's see. Spirit, why are we seeing this for pile number 2? What does pile 2 need to know about this energy that we're diving into here? All right, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2. They need to know about this energy. Like, there's lots of 10 wands and there's lots of sabotage. 10 swords. 2 swords for pile number 2. Spirit. Ace of Pentacles, and it was, oops, coming in reverse. And 7 of Pentacles. And the Hangman in reverse. Okay, why is this Ace of Pentacles in reverse here? And we have the 7 of Wands. I'm feeling this, oh, these 2, okay. And bottom of the deck, we have the King of Swords. Eight of Wands and the Ace of Wands. Okay, let's dive into what this is about. What's under the King of Swords? The Emperor. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. It does feel like a very strong sort of masculine energy here. Okay, the need for control and some sort of image to upkeep that's being manufactured by this person's actions and decisions and beliefs and hierophants and all this stuff. I feel like there's an ending that has happened here. Okay, an ending in this person's world. And I don't know necessarily if this ending is like it's definitely in the past position, so it's experience, but there's a ripple effect. Okay, yeah, we're even seeing water here, a ripple effect. What this ripple effect is doing is having this person take a good look at their own beliefs and their own understandings. Okay, because I do feel like this person has been in two worlds or of two minds here and justifying this sort of thing. But really, it's to control outcome or to control something. Okay, so it's like I'll stay put or I'll do the thing that I'm doing here. But there's like a non-movement with the two swords. So we're sort of upkeeping maybe a false world, but we're engaged in, I don't know, there's something about this energy being very stuck here. Okay, and you could certainly be dealing with this person. Again, flip it if you need to, okay? But I feel like there's something here about a solid opportunity that's sort of lost with the Seven Pentacles and this Ace of Pentacles in reverse. It's like it took a long time for this person who is sitting two swords to sort of claim an opportunity or to be authentic about something here, because this opportunity was on the table for this person to experience. And I think this person went against the opportunity by doubling down, like I said, and they're standing their ground about why they need to be two swords. And so I do feel like there's something here about, Seven Wands plus this Ace and this 8 is a 9 Wands. And 9 Wands, 7 Wands to me is very similar because I do feel as a defensive energy. But 8 Wands talks about communication and moving forward. And so I feel like there's a fiery energy coming from an experience of an ending where this person wants to prove themselves from their position and justify their position. It feels almost like fighting for the wrong camp is what it feels like. And this is this person sort of believing or driving in towards this understanding. It's like, I must fight for my right, fight for my right to upkeep this illusion or upkeep this narrow thought that isn't actually helping towards the new, but justifying my position and the position of stagnation or the position of maintaining some false world or the position of something. And it's like something has come to an end. And so maybe they're justifying a situation that's already ended, but staying put, or, wanting to stay, I don't know, like pretending that their dog is still alive and carrying their dead dog around. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. This person is like, then they could definitely be also in an energy here that's like, I was invested in this and now I keep giving to this thing that can no longer produce because it's organically shifted or changed, and convincing themselves that they got to stay put here still and give to it or do something, but it's already over. It's not going to produce. And so they're here investing more time until like something's going to happen here, because they'd rather be right than happy. And so they're telling themselves that it's right to stay here and keep showing up. Until what? Until year 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know how many years here. I don't understand. It's because I'm doing, like, I'm creating the order or the structure, or I've convinced myself that this is right. It's a very strong masculine energy. 10 Pentacles, some sort of built, established thing, like a family situation or something like this. And it's everything but the cups. And so we're not happy here. And so I think there's a lot of talk. But what is this talk? I think it's justification. And so I don't know who they have to justify to. Maybe to you. Like, see me, see me, see me. Support my decision to stay in this thing, whatever this thing is. Because that's the only way that I know. And maybe you're like, no, no. Let's see. We need to see some more because I don't understand what's going on here. Spirit, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2. Are you seeing this? What's going on here with this energy that I'm tapped into that pile 2 needs to dive in deeper about? Pile 2 and this energy that I'm tapped into. What does pile 2 need to know about this situation, circumstance? All right. Knight of Pentacles and a donkey, and I just heard stubborn as F. Okay, King of Wands. Pile 2, what is this about? Oh, we have the 4 of Cups, and it was coming in reverse. Yeah, the Tower. Oh my gosh. What did I say? The Tower was following here. Okay, and what's this King of Wands? I'm really surprised we're not seeing this 10 of Wands energy, but I mean, this is represented by this Tower. The King of Pentacles in reverse. There's that, I have an obligation of commitment to something, and then Judgment in reverse. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Queen of Cups. Under that, we have the Page of Pentacles. Under that, we have Strength in reverse. Okay. So we have Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn here. And Leo. So let me just see what the heck is going on here. I think you're going to hear from someone here. I don't feel it's your energy. I really don't. And look, Temperance, Sagittarius energy, Page of Swords, all these pages. Pages are communication. We saw the 8 Wands. Somebody wants balance and healing by maintaining some sort of, rather than facing their fear. I feel it's coming from a cowardly sort of energy here. And so they're approaching you, which I'm really feeling is a Queen of Cups type energy. Okay, giving, loving, caring, compassionate energy here from a page, from a place of a page. Okay, because I do feel like it's an entry level of something here that's really insignificant, but where it's stemming from is from some form of need to move. Okay, they need to move, but I feel this person's been very stubborn about it and moving very slowly about this thing. And this person hasn't been sold on the idea of whatever they were supposed to commit to or agree to or build to or reliable energy at all. It's like taking their sweet time here. But I feel like what's driving this person is their own ego, is this person's own need to win something here. And I think they're wanting to win the keep it the same status quo, and maybe this ending is like, whoa, I gotta temper things. I gotta neutralize things, because I do feel like this person had no cups, and I feel like this person is getting their cup fill here from you. And it's like, I need to regulate the cups back into my world, although they're not really seeing or understanding a greater truth. And it would be, I got to deal with my situation honestly and openly. Like, why is my situation have no cups? Okay, now when I say cups, it's not emotionally fulfilling. It's not providing warmth and compassion here, but you are the provider of the cup energy. So I'm pulled towards you, but from a selfish place of, I have to move, like I have to, but I'm still too not brave enough to embrace some form of truth in dealing with my situation that's been stagnant or held back, or it's like the truth of that situation still hasn't been seen or understood. And so I don't feel like this person's coming forward to you with anything, like anything here. The Star. Again, there's this energy of like, because I have a wish, or I have a vision of one day in the future, but right now I can't face it. Right now I can't promise it or do it, but I can just sort of, this almost sounds like dangle the carrot and try to get you to buy my story, because the King of Wands is going to paint a story. He's going to talk about a big game of what something could look like, but it's like, okay, well, what skin in the game do you have? Like, where's the commitment and where's the plan of this solidifying this thing? Or is it just all talk and a vision? It's like all talk and a vision, because I'm really motivated and driven by my needs to move, because again, I experience an ending, or I don't know, like my cups are running dry here and you give cups. So come back, please. Yeah, and I start to understand this. High Priestess, there's the intuition that's been guiding this person, the Queen of Swords. And so, I don't know, maybe you told this person like what's what, It's like clarity. And maybe you have some form of boundary with this person, or this person understands that you require some form of communication. Chariot, Cancer energy, and the Devil in reverse. So, yeah, Capricorn, Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra. So, I feel like Spirit's really talking to you about somebody that's coming towards you, okay? That's going to paint you some sort of star, like some sort of plan. And it feels very much like for self. And it does feel like it falls short. And I do feel, though, like this person might have an intention of something in the future, but it's just an intention. It's like securing the win now, so you can give me the immediate whatever I need right now, because I need a cup right now. Okay, so let's wrap this up, because I don't really understand what's going on here, or why we're seeing the Spirit. Why are we seeing this? Why are we seeing this energy here for pile number 2? What does pile 2 need to know then about this? Maybe it's like, be more Queen of Swords, not Queen of Cups, Maybe we're just really used to being sympathetic or empathetic, or, that sort of type of a thing. Let's see, Spirit. What's going on for pile 2? Why are we seeing this? Is there guidance? Is there more information? Am I missing something? What is pile 2 needing to know or asking about here? Please help me to channel in a way pile 2 will understand. The Queen of Wands in reverse. The Emperor in reverse. Strength and the Nine of Cups. A Leo energy. Why is this Queen of Wands in reverse? So we have Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, some Aries here. The Moon in reverse. Cancer energy. We see the 2 Pentacles in reverse. And Ace of Swords, 9 of Swords, and the 4 of Pentacles in reverse. Bottom of the deck, we have the 5 of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck reverse, and the Knight of Swords. Okay. What's under that? The Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Alrighty. I feel your energy. Let me tap into this thing. Yeah. So it's a clear one. It's not a me problem. You, beautiful angel, were experiencing a situation here. Okay. Whoever you were involved with here. I do feel two energies here. A masculine and a shadow. Okay. Doesn't have to be male. And yes, I could say male, masculine, and I could say whatever I want here. And if you're triggered by gender, then you can pound sand. So this person that I'm tapped into, masculine energy, was in an energy here that was not supporting your energy. You felt devalued, however they were doing it. And I feel like this person was not choosing or prioritizing you. And they could have certainly been juggling you. I think instead of waiting around here, because this person was heavily into swords, being on pause, being in that reverse hangman, whatever they were justifying or doing here, I think you might have had to face your fear or get out of the confusion, one or the other, maybe both, fear in walking away, fear in moving forward, fear in the what will happen. And I don't want to stay in confusion, hence the Queen of Swords. Because for me, Queen of Wands, I want to be happy. And I want to be happy. And so I need to be courageous here. And I need to choose my own happiness. Because clearly this person hasn't been clear and has been trying to get cups for free. This is what it really seems like here. Okay. And so I think you've seen some truth with the Ace of Swords. And I think despite a lot of anxiety and fear in maybe embracing this truth and facing your fear and sort of going after and choosing to break yourself out of this thing and release this person has triggered some sort of energetic cascade within this person's energy, which is all that dog's breakfast I was reading at the beginning of this reading with the Celtic cross. This person is being called to let go of their world, their stagnant world here that they're justifying to themselves, which doesn't bring them cups, whatever that world is, I need to be there, whatever Hierophant story. Okay. And I feel like you had to let go of this situation, circumstance, person in order to walk in line with authenticity and some greater truth, which again, took a lot of courage and strength, but it's like, where's my 9 cups? Because I feel like this situation was sort of keeping you in a no-win and keeping you feeling down and out. Okay, but I feel like this person feels abandoned. This person is like, coming from this like stuck energy, probably thinking it's unfair and unjust. Okay, because again, 5 Pentacles, we think we're a sort of victim. We think the universe sort of done us dirty. And it's like, it's out of my control. And so I feel like this person doesn't like the ramifications of being without, but at the same time, this person feels almost like it's out of their control to get out of a situation that they've been in. Okay. Like they really feel this way. And so you're not going to peg yourself to someone who feels like they have no out or someone who feels very stuck to whatever situation, circumstance they're in, that they're telling themselves they must stay there in order for you to be juggled or not chosen. Like this person hasn't been certain on you or clear on you, And it's like, well, if it's not a hell yeah, then it's the hell no. So I feel this person is going through this abandonment and this need to pull you back into whatever this is without any sort of real offerings, because to me, it really felt like a need to secure a plan. And so there might be a lot of talk. Okay, because it's like you're letting go or you're moving on and it's cascading this desperation. But this person is still very self-focused. I think this person is still in their ego and in their shadow. And I feel like this person wants to win at all costs. And so if this means I got to come towards you, then I come towards you. And I do feel like it could be somebody who you haven't talked to in a while or ghosted you or just felt like maybe you abandoned them abruptly, or you had to leave abruptly or something like this. Death in reverse. This person's prolonging, releasing what is already dead. Like I said, carrying around the dead dog, saying it's alive somehow or it'll come back to life. Because this is what you do when you honor your dog. You don't bury it. You keep pretending like it's alive for whatever reason. No, you don't do that. And so I think you're like, no, I'm not going to say that your dog is alive when it's clearly dead, And so you're like, peace. Like, this is the truth. And what's interesting is we have the 9 plus the 1, which is 10 swords, which is how we open this reading. So I think you, with a lot of anxiety or maybe a lot of like anticipation of like what will happen, you know, what will happen when I speak my truth, or what will happen when I like sever this, like the devil's in reverse. I feel like you're breaking from some codependency here, or a situation where you don't want to be tied to their devil. It's clearly a letting go, because I'm choosing my own happiness. I'm choosing my own happiness through some courage that I've had to tap into here. And this person does not like it, because it's triggering this person's shadow. Like, I'm in control. I say how things go here, you know? It's like, no, you don't control my decisions here. But it's like, okay, well, then you abandon me, or the universe has done me dirty here because I can't move from this situation. It's like, no, but you can. You really can. You're choosing not to. And then you want me to buy your story. Okay. So I still feel like Spirit wants you to know something about this, because who cares? Like, okay, you've already decided, like, maybe you're second guessing, like, should I have moved on, or should I move on? Like, yes, absolutely. But I have a feeling you have already put an end to this sort of dynamic, because you've seen a truth. So what does pile 2 then need to know, so we can close this out? Like, what do they need to know? So the reading goes on forever. Pile 2, what do they need to know? Why are they seeing this? Can we close this out, Spirit? And if it just repeats itself, then we pretty much read all the energy that we need to, but I feel there's more. I really do. And someone coming towards you, so what? Maybe it's just a warning, like this person's coming towards you and they're willing to say whatever because they're experiencing a tower. You know, they're experiencing a tower and they don't like the tower, especially in someone who thinks they're an emperor. Okay, but again, remember, I said it was all an image thing. So they feel they're an emperor, but they're really an emperor in reverse. So I have a very distorted understanding of my own energy. And now you're trying to tell the emperor what's what, when I wanted to have the control with the 2 pentacle. And now this decision is off the table. You're no longer a decision there. The 2 pentacles in reverse. It's like there is no need to choose, because there's only one choice, and it's the death in reverse, the dead dog. You chose the dead dog already. So we have the 4 cups in reverse. Yeah, I'm not happy. Where's my cup? Okay. And the Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands, like we know, is a very fast moving energy that's like going after what it wants without any sort of, it's like act now, think later energy. 10 of Swords, because something came to an end. And there's the King of Wands. And so it's a little bit more than this Knight Wands energy, because, oh, you guys, this energy, it's like, if I just come in here sort of like a Knight of Wands, this person understands that you might just King of Swords this person, you know, like, no, like I'm not dealing with the hot and cold, or the, I don't know, like love bombing or whatever this person wants to do. Okay, rope you back in. Yeah, rope you back in to their shenanigans. I feel like there's this, I must come with some grandiose plan. So there is some effort put into the planning, because I think this person wants to paint a picture that sounds good enough, you know? It's like, I need to win, because I don't want to experience this end, although the end's already happened, so I don't really understand, but I just don't want to sit in the rejection. You rejected me, you abandoned me, and I'm in a situation with a dead dog, so it's not emotionally fulfilling, and you're my Queen of Cups. So can you please come back here while I still snuggle with my dog? Okay, yeah, 5 of Cups. I miss you, and I need my Queen of Cups. And look, Lovers in reverse, and I didn't choose the path, and I went against my intuition, and I listened to my fear. And because I listened to my fear and I didn't choose love, now I'm stuck with a dead dog, and there I'm seeing you go away. All right. Well, I'm getting really stuffy all of a sudden. Yeah, Queen of Wands. And under the Queen of Wands, we have the 6 of Cups. So you're my person. You're my person, and I miss you. So that's why I'm driving for it. But if I just say I miss you, what is that? That's nothing. It's like, it's enough for this person to come forward, you know, but it's nothing, because where does it lead to? It's a reverse King of Pentacles, and it's just coming from a place of a loss. And I'm not used to losing, but there's a true missing, you know, and a regret and feeling bad. But it's like, I just want to rope you back into my world. That's still, that I'm still being called to step out of, by the way, and choose love. But instead of choosing love, I chose the dead dog. And And now I feel like I'm missing out on cups. So this person's coming towards you, and I guess that's your message. Okay, this person feels like you're the one that they're wanting to work with here. They're really pulled by you, but this person is listening to their own ego and their own need to win, you know? And I truly feel like this person didn't prioritize you, because I do feel with this Queen of Wands here, it could represent the other woman, but doesn't have to be to another person. Whatever it was that they chose, you're sort of second fiddle, you know? It's like, I'll choose this thing. And it's like, okay, go ahead. Go ahead and choose whatever you are choosing. But I do feel like it's a Hierophant thing here, you know? And so I don't know. Could it be a family situation? Could it be a religious thing? Could it be whatever? And so the justification sounds like it is the way that I must go, you know? Okay, then go that way. Then this should be perfectly fine, right? But it's not. So anyway, pile number 2, this is your reading. I hope this helped you, and I'll see you at the next one. All right, bye. Hello, gorgeous angels. Pile number 3, you guys picked the Moonstone Wand, and we are looking at a deep dive in towards your energy here with the Celtic Cross. Okay, I say your energy, but it definitely does not have to be, because I think we're dealing with circumstances here that are being shown by the Celtic Cross with the other 2 piles. Okay, so I don't know how many energies we're going to see. It could be people you're dealing with, situations you're dealing with. Actually, I want to start with these, sorry. So we'll ask Spirit to show us what you're needing to know, okay? For pile number 3, energetically wise, what is pile 3 needing to know about their current energy state? What's going on? Okay, if I say to you and it's someone you're dealing with, then it's someone you're dealing with, okay? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 3. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. Spirit, what's going on energetically with pile 3 here? And one more. Wow, okay. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. What is going on energetically? It covers you. It crosses you. I do feel it's like this. Like this. Like this. All right, and finally, the last deck here for pile number 3. Covers you. Just get a little sloppy here. Crosses you. Underneath you, behind you, and crowning position immediately before you. Self, environment, hopes and fears, revealing itself with active listening, 38 and 2, and finally outcome. And got 2. Okie dokie. And then we'll do tarot to make it more clear. Okay, so let's look at the covering energy. Overall energy, we have blind pessimism, 58. And we have 72 with resignation, feeling hopeless, immobilism, fatalism, surrender, submission, and renunciation. And then we have 71 with temptation, declining a challenge, loss of control, injustice, deep intimacy, leadership crisis, personal vulnerability. Interesting energy. Okay, let me sit here with this one. We see 8, 9, and 13, which is Scorpio energy, some Leo and some Aquarius, some Virgo and some Cancer energy here. Okay. There's an image here that we see of ourselves as less than. That we can't succeed or that we won't succeed. And so this is a self-worth or self-confidence thing, whether we're aware of it or not. And there's a giving up energy and going after what it is that we're being called to or pulled to or want to. More will become clear as we pull the tarot as well, but let's see. So what is this about here? Let's read 2 cards there. Okay, I don't want to confuse what we're doing here. So what's crossing? Suffering, 70 and 7. Limits, restrictions, physical harm, routine life, dispossession, long-term objective, and confrontation with pain. Faith, absolute certainty, loyalty, trust, belief, and mysticism, spirituality with the number 6. And we have duplicity. So pile 3, I feel like there's this pain that's being created by this mindset. There's a need here to see beyond an understanding that we have of self that is being shown to us by way of disappointing energy that we're carrying by either missing out on something that we want or some belief that we have here that's being brought to the surface here in order for us to look at and deal with. It's definitely a scarcity. It's definitely a distorted way in how we're sort of perceiving ourselves. That's creating all sorts of limitations based on our own decisions. Okay, so let's take a look where this is sort of stemming from here. So we have peacemaking, 108 and 9. Ecological initiatives, discussion circles, peace programs, spiritual retreats, meditation projects, and psychological support. Okay, and then we have peacemaker. Oh my goodness, there's a heavy Libra energy here as well. A wish for recognition, reconciliation, mediator, agreement, listening to yourself, awareness of your value. Awareness of your value. There's comparing to other people and feeling less than. Your trauma. Oh, thanks, Spirit. Yes, your trauma. So, in the subconscious, we're carrying trauma, okay? This trauma, I don't know when it got created. Sometimes it's a child in childhood, past experiences, past lives, passed down through generational experiences here that just get handed down to us with beliefs and upbringings and generational, okay? I don't know exactly where this trauma originated, and this trauma is creating all sorts of havoc in this person's world, okay? Which I'm reading as you. Because I do feel like this person is a people pleaser. And I do feel like this limits this person from believing in themselves because there's a lack of confidence here in this person. And they don't see their own value. And so they make decisions that are like beneath them in some way, thinking that it is aligned for them or that they deserve to suffer in that sort of decision-making process because that is set up for them, you know? But it's like, no, like it's actually creating a suffering that you don't need to experience. Okay, so let's take a look at what's passing out here. We have inner peace, letting go versus control, flexibility, tolerance, compassion, and imperfection. The suffering. Wow, this pile is right full of suffering here. And the gift. 14. So we got some temperance energy pulling through Sagittarius. A need for healing, tolerance, inner peace. Letting go versus control. I feel like there's a situation or circumstance. Let me get my drink. That has come into being. That is reflecting back to this person the truth of who they are, the gift of who they are, their true innate value. Now, I don't think this person has seen or connected to it. I think it's already made itself present. And no matter how much this makes itself present, whether this person wants to see it, acknowledge it, or integrate it, or connect to it is going to be a choice that this person is being called to make. I feel like this person has been battling with themselves here in order to let go of certain beliefs of themselves, in order to find some form of inner peace, and in order to let go of some trauma and some story and some belief here that's creating all sorts of havoc in this person's decision making. They automatically just default to an assumption that they're less than. And they don't even probably question it, you know? And so they're coming from a mindset of already creating the limit, even though there is no limit here. So let's see, what is this in the crowning position? We have suppression 40. It was kind of wanting to come in reverse here. So let's see, freedom 101 and 2. Liberated artistic creativity, independence, free will, autonomy, emancipation, and open self-expression. And instability, avoidance of suffering, refusal of limits, excess, scattering, addictions, difficulty to focus. Ego's pitfall, stress level 61 and 7. Okay, so we have some Cancer and some Pisces and some more Libra energy and some Aries and some Scorpio. Okay, so this person is learning not to suppress a part of themselves that I think this person does specifically in order for them to justify and reconcile this missing out energy. And I feel like whatever it is that they're experiencing here is being put in front of them in order for them to resolve this or look at this. And I feel like, sneeze. Ooh, I sneeze a lot lately. I feel like this person is trying to do everything in their power not to look at this trauma. And so they're avoiding the type of suffering that they feel would be that they would endure when looking at the trauma, but but they are experiencing a form of a form of suffering in another format by not engaging in what it is that would make them happy. And so they're sort of trading one suffering for another. Okay, which keeps them in bondage here. I feel like this person isn't free and doesn't feel free either which way. And I feel like this person is being shown that they are suppressing a part that is being called to the surface here in order to free this person from suffering. And that there's only one way, and the one way is to deal with the trauma and not to skirt around it and not to carry this belief of less than, or, you know, like being in a certain way so people can, I don't know, I don't know if it's so much like they want to be liked by other people. Of course, we all do. But I feel like there's this certain way that this person is that's like they assume that this is who they are, you know, like it's an image of themselves that they carry in order to keep the peace within themselves. It's like, it's not necessarily like, oh, I want to keep peace out here and I don't want to create conflict. It's like, I don't think this person cares if they create conflict, if I got to be honest. This peacemaking is like, I don't want to rock the boat of my own internal world. And my own internal world knows that I'm carrying, or at least intuitively, I could feel that I'm carrying some belief or some trauma here. Of course, I don't know it consciously. Okay, but inside of me, I'm hurting. I'm suffering greatly here. And so I carry this around with me. And so I want to keep peace and at least a neutrality. So I'm avoiding dealing with this by avoiding whatever I got to do to avoid, whatever I got to do to sort of look everywhere and do everything but look at this thing. And in doing so, I'm creating suffering, because this means I can't go after certain things, and I make certain decisions, and I have certain beliefs that aren't true. And so here's this genuine part of me that's sort of being traded off. And so, of course, I don't feel free. Okay, well, let's take a look. In the immediate future, what do we have here? We have running away from emotion. And it was in reverse, and same with suppress. I feel this person is really being called to deal with their emotions and express themselves authentically, which is going to deal with this trauma thing that they're not wanting to acknowledge. Managing fear, 51 and 6. Listening to your intuitions, deciding alone, daring, autonomy, disengaging, and facing your fears. And perfection, experience integration, accepting others, growth, balance, various visions, mistake acceptance. So this person has an understanding of how it's not realistic of who they think that they have to be. There's some form of like perfect version of them. And if I can't reach this bar, then I just don't even do it. I automatically assume that I'm not good enough, and this could have been, like I said, like really developed in childhood. Maybe we have a parent that expects us to be perfect, or we have some expectation on ourselves. And it's like, again, this managing fear, it's like they're doing what they're doing to mitigate this trauma from popping up and then having to deal with that type of a suffering or seeing this thing. And so I won't even try, because I don't even want to fail. There's a fear of failure, and then there's assuming I'll just fail anyway. So it's really a lack of self-confidence in our ability to perform or do something here. And so, but I suppress the fact, because the more I say I don't want, or that's okay, and it's like really a suppression, because there's a greater truth going on. Because it's like, what do you mean you don't want whatever it is here? It's like, it's not for me, it's for those other people, but it's like, what? So you sit here and suffer? That's what's for you? But they don't think that they're suffering in some way here, because I feel like this person just feels it's success as long as they're not having to deal with the suffering of the trauma. It's trading off sufferings is what it really feels like here. Okie dokie. My goodness. Divine union, 99. Universal interconnection, universal compassion, self-presence, inner peace, unconditional love, acceptance of conflicts. So this is in the self. Protection, generosity, helper, love, listener, defender, and fighting against injustice. And then we have conversion. 66 is a master number. Service is a source of joy in which one pours from an overflowing cup, not martyrdom. Okie dokie. And we have some, an 8 and a 9. Oh, and a 2. Okay, so this conversion is really giving me, I'll trade this suffering for that suffering, is all this is really giving me. I know it's probably not what it says. We will read in the book, because I do feel intuitively this is what this is pulling through, but I do want to see what it says. But it's like the currency we use, and I feel like they're being shown through way of self-acceptance, through an unconditional love of self, through this experience of divine union, which is really connecting to a deeper part of self, union of self, this inner peace and this inner light. And to connect to this, which is the truth of who they are, by the way, the truest essence, they'd have to work their way through this trauma. They can't avoid it, and they can't ignore it. And I feel like they're trading off one, like I said, for another in order to protect themselves, because this would be way too scary. And so just not getting what I want, and just assuming that I wouldn't be successful, and that I don't want it anyway, and convince myself that that's safe and that feels better, but it's still a form of suffering. Okay, this is really layered. So let me see. I wasn't expecting these readings to be so layered the way they are, but what is this conversion? What number is it? It is number 66. I feel like I'm catching sneezy attack again. Okay, conversion. So it says, if you have drawn the sigil, you're either being congratulated or warned, or whether you have made a positive change on the mental and emotional level that is now converting in the body physically as an increased well-being, or your lack of awareness of emotional and mental stress is now making it become physical in the form of decreased well-being. In other words, the emotional and mental aspect of the truth of yourself that you are not aware of, or that you're not admitting to, is converting into physical symptoms. Oh boy. Which I do feel is the action part. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but let's see. If you have drawn the sigil, conversion of mental and emotional truth is occurring. Either distress or well-being is converting into either ailments or improved state of being. And if you're honest with yourself, you know exactly whether this conversion is the conversion of a positive mental or emotional state into a physical, or a negative mental or emotional state into the physical. The sigil has come to congratulate you on making a positive shift that converted into physical shift, or to help you become aware of a shift that needs to be made because of a state of mental and emotional distress is converting into the physical. So, like I said, this person's being shown. Okay, they're being shown, and I think it's taking its toll, but I think it's taking its toll in the decisions this person's taking and making. So I don't know. It could be an ailment, it could be a body thing, but I'm taking that as practical. And I was really feeling it here because it's like, I just don't make that decision. I just don't run away from opportunity and things I want. And then I come up with all sorts of reasons why I can't, or I won't, or it would fail anyway. And all of this stuff, or I don't even come up with reasons or excuses. I just assume that it won't. And I don't even see it as an opportunity. It's very heavy about an idea, belief of how we see ourselves. Okie dokie. So sees environment. Let's see what's here. We have self-harm, 68, 108, and 9. Love, forgiveness, gift of self, self-love, love of life, compassion and reconciliation, and gratitude, 39. Introspective diary, prayer of thank, support group, spiritual retreat, community service, and spiritual mentorship. We have a lot of yellow too, which is solar plexus energy, because I do feel like this person has a lack of self-confidence. So, self-harm. Love and gratitude. Wow, this is a very high vibration. I feel like this person that I'm tapped into here, okay, and if this is you, this is a very intense energy here. I feel like there's an opportunity here that's in the highest vibration with this divine union, love and gratitude, that is being shown, okay? And in order to connect to this opportunity, there's only one way, and the one way is to deal with this belief and this trauma that's creating this understanding of lack of self-worth. This is creating the harm, okay? The harm is one that's self-induced due to a belief that's driving the decisions, and we might not even know that we actually have more power in choosing the choices and the decisions that we actually do, because we're really, really sort of, again, have this understanding that's just an automatic belief, that's sort of an auto program that's making these decisions, and that we can just slow down and know, is this decision one I'm making out of an assumption that I would not succeed, or that I'm not worthy enough for this, or that I, whatever, there's a need to sort of qualify these decisions, because I feel we're giving away some of our power here without realizing. Okay, let's see. Hopes and fears. This should become a little more clear when we pull the tarot. We have active listening, 38 and 2. So time for yourself. Gratitude diary. Introspective diary. Wow. So there's this really maybe writing this out is going to bring some perspective. Okay, soft yoga, self-compassion, positive assertions, conscious breathing. So we have sectarism, so dogmatism, fanaticism, doctrine, perversion, intolerance, and scientism. So I feel like there's this Hierophant energy that's pulling through here, which could be what we were made to sort of believe about ourselves rather than the truest self sort of expressing, our parents' voice or society's voice, looking to the outside. Yeah, it's another person that's living through this person, it's the beliefs that were implanted in me And now I believe it to be true, and now I'm running with those beliefs. All right, so we're not seeing through the illusion, and we're running like it's our own belief. It's our own story. Okay. Outcome, we have coping. Yeah, it's like choosing the worst of the devil here, and I'm choosing to suffer still. Loss, abandonment, detachment, mourning, departure, and separation, and it's like losing out. And I'll cope with just losing out here. Rather than face the fear of the moon here. Joyfulness. Yes, benefits of going deeper, maintaining interest, project concept, bearing the pain, acceptance of limits and long-term satisfaction, and being an expert. Withdrawal from the world, frenzy of learning, stinginess, self-preservation, superiority complex, and over-intellectualization. 5 again with the Hierophant. Okay. Beautiful people. Some of you guys, this could definitely be someone you're dealing with, but I feel like for some of you guys, this could be your energy. There's joy to be had. And joy isn't half suffering, and coping and putting up with settling on certain things. I feel like there's a giving up or a loss of what we want because we're assuming that the outcome wouldn't align somehow, or that we would disappoint or not have success or succeed in an area. And it could very well be because this perfection and this being an expert, that we have this unrealistic belief about how we have to be or who we have to be in order to be the type of person that would take those chances or do the thing. It's like, if I'm not that, then I don't do it. And then I choose that suffering and I cope with that, the loss of that, or the acceptance of me just missing out, but it's like this upbringing or this, again, a belief that's been implanted in me to like do this thing. And this is how I do it, but I might not even be seeing it or questioning it. And in the interim, I'm missing out on all sorts of opportunity to bring in love, to bring in joy, to bring in happiness, to overcome this thing. But this belief needs to be looked at and dealt with here, and it's like, maybe it's an automatic, like instead of this being examined, we automatically kick it out to, but I could just cope and coast here in this, keeping this thing status quo, because this isn't pushing one out. This is just sort of keeping one at a certain level, because at least here I'm safe, It's like I don't experience the failure. I don't experience, and so I'm okay, or this is good in some way. But it's like, no, this is settling, and this is just sort of convincing yourself like you need to play small. There's a playing small here, you guys. So I'm going to pause this, and then I'm going to read the tarot, because we're going to see why we're seeing this. Okay, give me a sec. All right, pile number 3. Let's take a look why we're seeing this energy coming up in your reading. Spirit, what does pile 3 they need to know about this? What are they being shown this for? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greater and higher good of pile number 3. Thank you so much, pile 3, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. It's a blessed to be here, doing your reading. So far, I was only feeling one energy, so could be yours, could be someone you're dealing with. Like I say, let's see. Spirit, why is pile 3 seeing this? Oopsie. I'm going to pick that up. It goes right here. It fell like this. Okay. The Emperor. I think there's a lack of confidence here, okay? The 3 of Pentacles in reverse. The 7 of Cups in reverse. And the Death in reverse. Scorpio energy. King of Pentacles. The Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. And the 8 of Wands in reverse. And we have the Hangman in reverse. Pisces energy. What's under the Emperor? 2 of Swords in reverse. And under that, we have the Magician in reverse. Okay. Just give me a sec here. Okay. Pile number 3. I'm going to read this as your energy, okay? But certainly could be someone you're dealing with. I feel like we think we reach some sort of stable place, some sort of pinnacle, okay? And it might be attached to this as sort of the be all end all, or this is all that I could be, or all that I can have, or because it took me whatever to build this thing or to be this way. And then we accept it as the truest capacity of who we can be and what we can achieve. This is a big falsity, because there's a level of coasting here. And it's really stemmed from what we were talking about there. That if I were to push myself outside of this comfort zone or this thing, because deeper than this, I don't believe that I could succeed in branching out or doing more from this thing. And so I'm in a situation where there is like, I feel it's like death by a million paper cuts, because it does feel to me like it's something that isn't providing. And I'm staying there in this situation. And so there's opportunity, and I'm turning it down to create something bigger or better. And so I have dreams inside of me sitting somewhere that I'm completely dismissing, or just automatically assuming it will never happen and it won't happen, rather than allowing myself to move forward and experience it, because I have a mindset and an understanding that was implanted in me, and now I'm keeping it alive, of a thought of all that I can be and all that I can do. And so I'm limited in my ability to know what I'm actually capable of. And so my own self-speak sort of keeps me small, and I don't do it, and I don't go after it, because I don't feel like I have it in me, or that I know how to do it. So I'll just stay here. I'm like a big fish in a big pond. No, big fish, little pond. But it is a form of suffering. Rather than taking a deeper dive into that shadowy part, like we saw the trauma, because there's a belief that we're hanging on to that's actually driving these decisions. And so we're picking the worst of the two evils. It's like, but at least here I just sort of feel like I'm top of the world. Really, we're not, because we're really selling a part of something we can experience and build. And it's almost like an ignorance here, because it's like, what I don't know, then I don't know. But spirit knows where there's more to be sort of had. Okay. And it's countering your own thoughts of yourself. And it goes against this, because there's a greater truth that's being shown to you, because it wants you to move, because nothing's stagnant. And so wherever you're staying or choosing or convincing yourself is okay, I feel it's changing into something that is just dead. Okay, dead, whatever it is. Dead end job, dead end relationship, dead end, no more growth. It feels bland. It doesn't feel satisfying at all. That's suffering. Okay, and we could be ignorant of this and sort of, I don't know, hang on to what it might have been at one point, or understanding of it at one point. But it's like the other version of me, I can't tap into, or I don't see it, to go after, create that business, or like confidence to just go after a relationship if we've not been able to do this. Or if it's not that, then it's like push and expand ourselves into an area that would bring us more happiness, because the universe knows. Now, this doesn't mean that all relationships bring happiness. This means, specific for this person that I'm reading, there's an experience that this person is being called to experience by the divine. It's being rejected and shut down, because this person is staying put, hanging on to their dead dog. Okay, and the same analogy as pile number 2, but it's like, this is giving off the energy. Back in, 1990, I was the best football player, and then they try fitting into their football uniform, and it doesn't fit, and then they just keep pulling it out of the suitcase, looking at it. Okay, but nothing's happening, and we're not doing anything. So what are we doing here? Let's see. What is this? Spirit, why am I channeling this message for pile number 3? What does pile 3 need to know then about this? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. What do they need to know then? What am I missing? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 3. I'm feeling that one too. Okay. Tower. Yeah. Eventually the dead dog starts to have maggots. Okay. Eventually something happens here with this tower. So let's see. He's trying to prevent the tower. 2 of Wands. A decision in front of you. The 5 of Swords in reverse. We were challenged. We might have fought it. We definitely did some form of sabotage against it. 2 of Cups in reverse. So something that would bring us emotional happiness. We might have not chose this path. Okay, we sort of sabotaged in some way. 10 of Pentacles in reverse. So there is an already established thing here. Okay, could be a marriage, a relationship. It could be a long-term job here that once might have made us happy in some capacity here. But I feel like we have some established thing that we feel responsible to. The Queen of Pentacles and the Page of Wands and the Queen of Cups in reverse. Okay, what's under the Tower? The Knight of Pentacles in reverse and the 9 of Wands in reverse. Okay, let me see. What is this energy that we see here? I think this is kind of like a message from Spirit to you if this is your energy or whoever I'm tapped into. The Tower is inevitable. Okay, this means eventually if something catches up to us here, I feel like there's already been a choice here to make different decisions and we sabotage them. We got in our own way and we might have really stuck to the thing or the thing that's comfortable. Even though the thing that's comfortable is something here that it was already sort of fallen apart in some capacity, but it gave some form of comfort. I don't know. Okay, there's an opportunity here to explore something else. Okay, that I feel is more, well, one, it's able to provide growth, but I feel like it's also something that could be secured, could be relied upon, could be experienced here. But we haven't even allowed ourselves to sort of explore this thing. And I think we're trading off the, like, what would emotionally sort of bring us happiness to keep some sort of situation afloat that is actually no longer able to support us here. Okay, the universe is striking down with the Tower, saying this is unsustainable. You cannot stay here no more, wherever this is. So if we were at a job that we were sort of just coasting here, it's like, well, people are getting laid off now. Like the universe is saying this is an act of nature. If this is like a relationship where I was just sort of hanging on, it's like, well, then this person is like filing for a divorce. You know, I'm not predicting anything. I'm just saying this is Tower. And this is surprising because I feel like you're not expecting whatever this is to say, hey, pile number 3, it's time for you to go explore. And usually when we don't do it of our own accord, the universe will put in front of us no other option, because growth and expansion is the only way that we're ever supposed to be in line with the universe, to move and grow. Okay, not to be stagnant, because nothing's stagnant. Everything moves and grows. That's the whole point of this world, is to grow and expand. And I feel like we might have been very defensive about moving, you know, or again, the mindset keeping us stuck as to why we wouldn't succeed. And so maybe it's like, wow, I've just always not have opened up that business I wanted to do because I just stayed put in this 9-to-5 job. And it's like, well, now we're laid off, or now we can't stay at that job no more. So now the opportunity is in front of you so that you can explore, you know, creating that new job or that new business or the thing that we were resisting or fighting that would bring us happiness, but we were too fixated on the comfort zone or too fixated on the suffering path because it was all I knew, you know. 3 of Swords in reverse. Suffering. Death by a million paper cuts. Okay, so let's see. Why is this here? Let's dig into this tower thing energy. What do we need to know then? What does pile 3 need to know about this tower and this messaging that's coming through? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 3. 9 of Swords in reverse. So right up in our mind, a lot of anxiety here, fearful anticipation of what might happen, what could happen, coulda, woulda, shouldas, that prevent us from taking action. It's like it can't no longer sort of hold us back because I think the tower is making us move. So I think it doesn't matter if there's anxiety about what to do. There's just doing what we need to do because we can no longer stick around the tower. There's just a bunch of rubble. Okay, let's... The King of Swords. So Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, 2 Pentacles. Decision. We've been contemplating. Okay, 9 of Swords in our own head, and our anxiety is holding us back here. Judgment. So the moment of truth, the Star, our wish, our desire, our hope, wish is coming true. Ace of Wands. So we've been held back from moving towards our wish or vision. And lack of confidence again. Queen of Cups, following our heart. And the 6 of Swords, moving towards that. And we have 5 of Pentacles. Okay, and then what's under 2 of Pentacles? 4 of Swords. And Ace of Pentacles. Okay. Pile 3, if this is your energy, I feel like you've been trying to organically come up with a decision to do something that I feel you've been back and forth about for some time in regards to a new beginning for you. And I think you've been there for long, okay? Long enough for there to be you being your worst sort of enemy. There's an integrated belief you have in scarcity. I can't, I'm not good enough, I won't, I don't have the thing, I'm sort of incapable of doing it. Whatever belief you have, I think it's an untruth. And there's a lot of sort of projecting that what would happen. And this is keeping you sort of stagnant. I feel this is coming to an end. Why? Because I feel there's a tower incident that happens here that makes you have to sort of see the truth for what it is. And it is requiring you to deal with this thing. Okay, but I think this is a good tower and a good thing, even though it might feel like crap, because I feel like there is this part of yourself that you were sort of trading to the universe that is for you, that is aligned with your heart's contentment. And there's no other way except for forward. And so maybe in the past we were able to go back and forth and stay put and sort of contemplate and come up with 50 different reasons why we can't, or when it will be the right time, or why we should have, could have, wouldn't, and why it won't work, and all of this stuff. This is coming to an end. Okay, there's only forward movement from this whole thing. And you are moving towards your wish, and you are moving towards what makes you happy here, because I think you have no other where to go. And this is in line with the greater truth. So I feel like you're learning or seeing something that was being shown to you about your own beliefs of self, you know, that you got sort of in your own head about how you see yourself. And you might really see yourself as lacking or without, or lack of confidence, or an inability to do something here. Yeah, the Hangman in reverse. So it's like my belief of how I see myself has stalled me out. The belief of how I saw or thought of things made me make certain decisions that were creating the same sort of outcomes. And so as long as I have the same beliefs, I have the same sort of outcomes. And I feel like I'm disappointed or stagnant or incapable, and these are my beliefs, and therefore this becomes my reality. Something about being very stuck in how we see things, specifically ourselves. And so then our situation becomes hopeless. And it's like, well, there's no way out, or there's no way forward, or I'm incapable of it, you know? And it's like, well, if you believe this, then this is exactly what you sort of experience. And I feel like you've been experiencing this for some time, and the universe is like, okay, no more. You know, whatever was there that was kind of upkeeping that safe place for you to be in that sort of low state of suffering is now being taken from you. Okay. And so we were really seeing a need to deal with the trauma part too. And I feel like the trauma part is a belief that we have of self. And we saw the Hangman in reverse. I don't know necessarily that we're seeing why we're sort of doing this thing. Temperance in reverse is still unhealed. And so the universe keeps on moving. Like I say, it doesn't matter whether we're healed or unhealed, or we see a great truth or not. I feel like a big message here is, although we might be moving to calmer waters, although we might be more aligned with our heart's contentment, and although we might just be forced in this way, I don't think we healed what we were sort of being shown to heal, because the whole purpose was to heal some belief of self here. Why was this is more the question, like, why was I holding myself back? Why do I have a belief here that I'm incapable, or that I don't have the confidence to accomplish this thing? Was I trying to be perfect? And I think maybe, Spirit is showing me, when we get to this other side, because maybe we do open up our business, or maybe we do move towards that relationship, or maybe we do the thing that we were too fearful to do because we have no other way to do it, or we're being, again, towered out of our situation. I think then we start to see the truth, but only until it's experienced as like, whoa, I am good at this, or whoa, I did work with like this belief that I was incapable, or that I didn't have the thing, but yet I still made it happen. And I think this is what Spirit's showing you, is like, do not carry beliefs as truth here if they're just, like thought stories and the reverse hangman beliefs that you've been using to make your decisions, because there is a greater truth. And the greater truth here is that you are capable of aligning yourself with your heart's content here. There's no reason why you should be held back, or holding yourself back just based on these thoughts. So I think you're going to see this in hindsight. And I feel like Spirit really wants to talk about the shift in this movement here. 10 of Wands in reverse. Yeah, like alleviating that burden, because there's a lot of suffering here. And so we're putting down what we don't need to carry, which is all of these self-speak, all of these thoughts, all of this, I can't do, I won't do, it won't be this, it won't be that. I do want to see the Tower, though. Let's just see, what is this Tower? Because for all of you guys, different Tower, but this Tower is definitely that 10 Wands in reverse. It's like surrendering to what is, because the Tower, there's no way to face the Tower except for accepting the falling away of it. So 10 Wands reverse is surrender. What is this Tower? For pile 3, what is the Tower? The universe gets involved and does what it does so that you can move. That's what that is. What does it do? Whatever it needs to, in order for you to get out of that, whatever that was. Okay, 5 of Cups in reverse. And this is not a very good energy, because 5 Cups is scarcity and lack and missing out and looking at we coulda, shoulda, woulda, and then regretting it. Coming out of that mindset and that experience, because the universe is pulling you out of that. 8 Swords, yeah. So in our own mind, and our own mind is keeping us hostage in a coulda, woulda, shoulda situation, or fearing the worst and blaming the universe, saying, oh, I got to be stuck here because of whatever reasons we come up with. All right, yeah, Knight of Wands in reverse, so stopping yourself in that strength. Lack of courage here, and the Empress, and then we have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So wherever you're moving towards is abundant, okay? Could be towards a person with this Empress here, love of your life, but it's really following your heart, and it's also understanding that abundance is for you. I feel like your own lack of confidence, your own fear, maybe facing your fears, or trusting your own self to follow through with something and be successful here, was keeping you stagnant and stuck, looking at, oh, I can't and I won't, and all of these reasons. Okay, universe is coming in and doing something with that Tower that I don't think you see, but also most importantly, it is unexpected. It's nothing you do on your own with the Tower and this Wheel of Fortune. It's just a natural thing that's happening here in order to shake you up and wake you up so that you can get out of your own sort of way and move towards something more abundant. Okay, because I feel you're very stuck and very stagnant. Yeah, look, 10 of Cups, something with a lot of potential to make you really, really, really happy that was being overlooked and not experienced. There's a King of Cups, something you really love, someone you really love, and experience with someone that could develop into something long lasting. Okay, but it's like, oh, I fear talking to them, or I fear moving, or I fear doing the thing. It's like, well, destinies coming into play here, okay? But I don't know that we've healed whatever we were needing to heal. But I think that in experiencing this Empress energy, I feel like there's something very destined about learning about our own self-worth in the process. Because I feel we connect to some part of true love here, unconditional love, love of self, self-worth, through going through this process. And maybe it's been very challenging for us to trust this, how to receive love, how to give love, But the universe is sort of saying, whatever, like we're kicking you out, wherever you're sort of hanging on to, or whatever safe zone of suffering you're in. Pile number 3 is long readings. I hope this helped you. I love you very much, and I will see you at the next one. All right, bye-bye.